We're not sure how that happened, and maybe I hit a button.
You did. You did. You hit the button. We were just having a pre-meeting here. Welcome everybody live. Qschqql. December 3rd, Lord's Year 2025. Matthew's Christmas tree is up. I did that yesterday after a wonderful time we had yesterday on Qschqql. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. How about you, Tim?
I'm doing good. Every day I am puzzling. That's one of Matthew's favorite all-time shirts.
Every day I'm puzzling.
That's right. Question everything.
It's got the autist markings on it, and yeah, I'm doing great. I'm excited. Man, we've had a couple of great days in a row, on week 18, 2 great shows in a row.
Yeah, everyone seemed to like that. So again, we got a little surprise intro here. We started well, we're a little behind, but we're gonna some friends. We're gonna play General Apex's intro song and video. He made for us. We did on Qschqql. We played that last week, but I mentioned it on my story, so wanted to share that. So I'm gonna play it through the Instagram. I think the dimensions might be better, and he's got some of the words in there too. So we're gonna play that. We'll come right back and say hi to you. It's just a short little video from General Apex.
Lots of surprises.
Shout out to our beautiful friends out there, all the awesome things you guys have made, and something we're going to shout out all of our other Anons and friends and things you guys have done. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. They got what's it, Qschqql? We stand together, anons arise, voices united, we see through the lies. We fight frontline, armed with the facts, mapping our shadows, exposing their tracks. We're burning the system, ain't paying no tax. Army of soldiers, fend off attacks. Anons united, we deep in these hacks. Kyle and Melzie be bringing the sauce. Tim knows the deltas cause he is a boss. God wins cause the devil he lost. We keeping the faith and we carry the cross. We read the news and we unlock the map. Anons are protected cause Q got our back. Destroying the cabal and satanic death codes. We stay tippy top and we bringing the results. Tackle. Together we'll fight, cut through the lies and the fear. Our codes and patterns be right in your ear. Exposing the evil through a content creation. Anons united, cause we're saving the nation. Trump in the lead with courage and heart. Special ops in motion, playing their part. Deep state corrupted, but we're breaking the chains. With clarity and power, we're changing the game. With every drop and post, we strategize. Cause every one of us had enough of their lies. We're fighting for our freedom and blasting the truth. Energy so high, it could bust through the roof. The news is fake, but the war is for real. Don't let the media tell you how you should feel. Together we'll fight, cut through the lies and the fear. Our codes and patterns be right in your ear. Exposing the evil through our content creation. Anons united, cause we're saving the nation. So rise up, warriors, for truth is the message. Our fight is biblical and God is our weapon. 217, beginning the Qschqql lesson. Where we go, yeah, we're grounded by blessings.
General Apex, Elite Digital Warrior.
Oh yeah, General Apex, shout out. There's also Susan Calloway. She also posted a video for some stuff. There you go. Let's go to her pound shout backs. But here's General Apex over on Instagram, General_Apex. I want to go straight back to Tim. Last time I blabbed. How'd you like that one, Tim? How was that?
Oh, I love it. I love everything. I love what the Anons are doing. I love what the digital soldiers, truth warriors around the world are doing. Bravo, everybody. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, very cool. Hopefully you got to watch that. Some other friends all working together. Thank you guys so much. And then we're going to talk to our friends here and say hi officially now. All the good stuff. Looks like Tim's got the tree there. I know Matthew, we're working on that. What you want to tell us about the tree there, Tim?
Yeah, I'm in a nice Christmas spirit right now, especially after Monday's show. 'Tis the season for treason or of treason. We did the of and the for on Monday's show. Was it Monday? What day are we today?
Today's
I'm losing
Wednesday.
track.
For Monday was for, yeah, I know, right? And then
I'm
we've also
losing track
lost
of time.
We've lost some track of days multiple times on Qschqql, but even now, years as the Qschqql clan got together. Mel and I have had some debate. We're going to save this for another time there about when COVID actually happened. So it might sound crazy, but this time travel stuff gets sticky and dicey. So y'all probably have some different interesting stuff that happened to you guys going through this this shift, fifth dimensional stuff. Sometimes like simple items might disappear and then reappear in another place around your house, or you might have time distortions and stuff. I know I've gone on a short drive one time, especially when I get together with my buddy all the time, and there was like 2 or 3 different clocks in the truck. There was like a watch, and like every single one like went a different time. It went down like we went to this area is really odd. So y'all might be experiencing some strange stuff out there, human resonance and whatnot. But hang in there, it's a wild time. How you doing, Melzie? Good to see you back. She took yesterday off, so here we are. The clan's back.
Yeah,
How you doing, Mel?
I'm doing great. I feel rested and feel good. Great to be here. I heard you guys yesterday. I think you guys did a great job, and it's, I think, an important topic. You know, how do you become decentralized in a centralized world? And I think that kind of leads into what we're talking about today in the golden age. And you know, I've tried to take steps away from that as well. And I have, like, I don't keep anything in the bank, as little as possible, and everything else I either have in cryptocurrency, gold or silver, um, or some kind of, you know, something like land is, you know, an asset too. So there's different things. Like obviously we talk about my camper here, and that was part of the skimming off the top that I did. And I talked to Tim at that time, like, you know, behind the scenes, Tim, do you think I should do this? And he's like, you know, we talked it over, and he's like, definitely do it. And I'm so grateful that I did, and making that change. And how do you do that sometimes when you don't know where to shop too? So those are all things that I think we get to, thank God, go together through this with. And you know, this is maybe here or this is how we do it, you know,
Trying to figure it out together, right?
figure it out together.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Melzie. And that was exciting times for you. I remember, I'll never forget that. And of course, the timing was, as Q says, timing is everything, right? And that particular time, your XRP had actually gone up quite a bit. So you were into major profits. And, you know, this idea of getting your old trailer back. I mean, even that, just thinking about the possibilities of you ever finding your original trailer, you know, for sale or wanted ads, it's just, it blows my mind. And then when you asked me, I said, definitely take some profits off the top, because like in crypto or like gold and silver, or anything else, it goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down. The stock market's the same thing, guys. You get your ebbs and your flows, right? It's like life. Life is a bunch of uphills and downhills, uphill. Like you can't change the fact that you're going to have the ebbs and flows in life, and your stock market, your cryptos, your gold and silvers, everything is like that. So when you're in a profit situation, they always say, you know, you can't lose money if you're taking profits, right? You can't.
Right.
And you can't lose money if, let's say, you own something and it comes down in value. The only time you lose is if you actually sell it. So don't sell it, just hang on to it. It's yours. It was yours in the beginning when you bought it. Hang on to it until you get into profits. When you get into profits, that's when you skim a little bit off the surface. But I'm glad you brought that up, because yesterday, if you guys missed yesterday's show, I don't know how it came about. It just ebbed and flowed. Speaking of ebbs and flows, Kyle, we just got into this conversation about we the people taking our power back. Well, there's so many different ways you can do it. We could do it through our shopping, the power of the purse we talked about yesterday, taking your money out of the banking system, because that's one of your enemies, right? That's part of the machine. And this, like, speaking of the golden age, and that's what Melzie and Kyle want to talk a lot about today with you guys. And I'll kind of fill in some gaps in that. But it's so important to take your control back on, especially the power that you already have. Okay, you're already working, or you're getting money from somewhere, somehow, some source. Now, what you do with that money is up to you and only you, right? So how you're going to go forward with that, and how you're going to build what I call your own treasury, your own personal treasury accounts, because the United States of America and other countries around the world all have a treasury. You got to figure out, why do they have treasuries and we the people don't have treasury? Well, the treasury is for we the people. That's in the bigger scale. But as individuals, we can all build our own treasuries based on that. Whatever you can make 20,000 a year, you can make 120,000. It doesn't matter what you make. It's what's most important is what you spend, so you can save money. You can lock and load some investments using gold, silver, gold, crypto, stock market, whatever avenue, like diversify. We talked about diversifying. But number one key is, like, in order to take our power back as individuals, we the people, where we spend our money is crucial. It's crucial how we move our money around. Are we going to hand that hard-earned money that we earned and give it to the enemy? We talked about that yesterday. So yesterday's show, if you missed it, it's so valuable. We talked about switching your cell phone service. We talked about switching the locations of stores that you shop at. And I got an update for you, Kyle. We got a quick little 4-minute clip from LTN We Know, who had a show this morning, who actually just blew my mind, because we just talked about this yesterday. And wouldn't you know, Costco, because a lot of you guys out there still shop in Costco, you still got your Costco memberships. Guess what? They are the enemy. They're not your friend. Yeah, you might save a couple of bucks on large purchases here and there. You can't just buy one bag of popcorn. You got to buy 17, to get the deal, whatever it is. But what I'm saying is, the corporation itself, the entity where you go and spend your hard-earned dollars, they are actually suing Donald Trump for the tariffs that are coming in. And the tariffs are what is going to give us our freedom, our sovereignty, by no more income taxes. Think about that for a second. So as Christmas season, we're 22 days away, T-minus 22 to Santa coming down the old tree there, or the old chimney, to put gifts under our tree. All that money, the Christmas dollars, all the shopping that you guys always have done for your food and your gifts and cards, wrapping paper, bows, lights, whatever, be careful where you're spending your dollars, because how we control and how we take our power back is by not feeding the beast, not feeding the enemy anymore. And I got that clip I want to share with you, Kyle, if you want to bring it up. It's the 46-minute and 25-second mark. I think you tagged it. I think you
what's the timestamp, Tim? Where are we at?
46 minutes and 25 seconds. Watch what LT dropped this morning, and based on what we talked about yesterday, it fits right in. And then it brings in some gold and silver conversation that I know you guys want to talk about.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm excited.
I know it's crazy how this all rolled together, and just like you said, Tim, it was kind of you never know what you're gonna get on Qschqql, where we're gonna flow, where we're gonna go. Tim and I kind of just had a conversation most of the day. We actually had Jay Rosemary joined us for a while yesterday too. Jay Rosemary showed a clip of the Qschqql yesterday. Also, again, Susan Calloway did, so I'll shout y'all out. Scott gave us a donation. Thank you, brother. Also, he's asking about us to donate. We do want to set up some crypto things too. And I have my private, donation things on the ticker. You can check out the different places. I do have a Qschqql one. It's under the business. They take a little percentage out, but maybe I'll just put the Qschqql so it's more official, I guess. And we'll pull that together like we should, like we do. Yeah. Okay. So
before you play that, so just a quick reminder, folks, what we talked about yesterday was switching your shopping, like your shopping dollars. Start feeding. Instead of feeding the beast or our enemies, feed the patriots. Okay, look for patriotic stores, patriot owners, patriot companies, corporations, online, down the street. It could be your neighbor doing crafts or whatever. Fund them. Send your shopping, your power of the purse, right? That's your power, your money, where you direct it. We talked about switching your phone services to Patriot Mobile or Trump Mobile. That's taking money away from the enemy and giving it to the good guys, right? For having the same service, if not better. And we also talked about switching banks. We have the Old Glory banking system by a Patriot. Who's that country singer that we talked about yesterday? Rich, what's his name?
Yeah, I want to say Thorogood. Is it Thorogood? Rich Thorogood? Or
no, his last name's Rich. He's the country singer.
Oh, yeah. Rich, they know in the chat. Rich guy. No, Richie, is that
his last name is Rich. John Rich. I think it's John
Rich. There it is. Yeah. John Rich and something. What's the name of that new song again? It's got a good name too. Rebel something. Somebody help me out with that.
I'm not sure.
They were
So,
discussing the chat. Read the
so just
chats out.
based,
Let us know what they
so based on yesterday, you can switch your cell phone service, you can switch your banking, you can switch your shopping habits, and those three things alone. And then what we got into yesterday, which was announced yesterday on the White House website, is the new injection of capital from the U.S. government and a donor, the Dell company donation. $1,250 for every newborn from what was the dates again, Kyle? Just
January 1st of 2025 to the very end of 2028, December 31st, 2028. So 25, 26. So 4 full years. 4 full years, your child, as long as you go in does the website, hit the election, they will have $1,000 donated into a trust fund for them, an investment fund that you or any of your family and friends can add to. If they're in the impoverished areas, you get an extra even $250 as well. So $1,250 to start. If you invest into it regularly and kind of maximize on the benefits, it can be like, what was it, $1.9 million and
$1.9 million by the time they're 28 years old, folks. They just created millions of millionaires in the country of the United States of America by doing that, just so you know. Plus the fact that there is going to come a time in our lives where there's going to be no more taxes, guys, no more income taxes. The tariffs is the king. The tariffs is what's going to drive all this. Plus the transfer of wealth that we talked about yesterday. So I'm really excited for all of you because this is what's coming our way. But we can also do our thing. And by the way, congratulations, all of you beautiful patriots in Tennessee. We won that election last night. We asked everybody to go out, get out and vote. And the fella Epps, I think was his name, he won by 9 points. It should have, like we're saying, it should have been a lot higher or whatever. But you know what? This time of year, a lot of people aren't thinking about voting, but everybody that was in that area went out and you know, the God-given right to get out and vote and make a difference in this world. And you guys did that. And we now have a new congressman, Republican congressman, who is a fighter, who is a patriot. Congratulations, everybody. We prevented that psychopath chick from getting her foot into the door of politics. Thank God. She's a mess. So yeah, we have the power. Just that's the ultimate thing. And I love your title, Melzie, the Golden Age. I'm looking forward to the rest of the show today. But again, just to bring up that short clip and just to refresh your memories on where you should be spending your shopping dollars. That's just one of many different ways that we can make a difference by not funding the beast or the enemy anymore. LT and we know.
All right, LT and we know. Here we go, 4625. Let's rock and roll.
One after another. Now let's hear about from Julie Donuts on Costco.
So we have Costco suing the President of the United States over tariffs that they had to pay. The Supreme Court ruling isn't even final yet, but Costco's getting ahead of the game in case the Trump administration loses. They will not lose. Costco, you just showed your hand on where your allegiance is. Tariffs will stop the United States citizens from being and paying income tax. Tariffs have brought in billions and billions of dollars into the country. Tariffs are used to negotiate world peace. Manufacturing is coming back thanks to tariffs. Maybe, Costco, you should put your allegiance into America. I cannot believe a multi-billion-dollar company is suing the President of the United States. Tariffs also are stopping drug lords from bringing in drugs and killing our citizens. Tariffs was how America was funded when we were founded. I wouldn't tell you what to do with your Costco membership, but what they are doing is absolutely disgusting. So much for a family-oriented company. Shame on you, Costco. So disgusting.
Also disgusting is the way that they've, played the games with the House, trying to steal all these seats, right? The Democrats across our country working together Well, it's not working anymore. The Indiana House Committee in charge of redistricting has unanimously approved the state's new U.S. House maps,
Let's
which
go!
would give Republicans
Woo!
new seats in Congress. Full House and Senate votes coming soon. Gavin Newsom is hardest hit. All Republican states must follow suit. We got that and other great news from President Trump.
And I believe that at some point in the not too distant future, you won't even have income tax to pay because the money we're taking in is so great, it's so enormous that you're not going to have income tax to pay. Whether you get rid of it or just keep it around for fun or have it really low, much lower than it is now, but you won't be paying income tax. We've slashed $1 trillion.
Income tax. You won't be paying income tax. Oh, man. He keeps bringing that up over and over again, like he really wants us to know what's going on. Really wants us to know. As a matter of fact, while we're watching that play out with income tax, what else has been happening? Well, we keep bringing this up. Gold went up to 42.15, 40 actually dropped just a little bit, and then you've got silver, $58.61. It's the latest update that I pulled up from yesterday. It could go even higher. We'll see. Folks, we keep talking about it week after week. If you missed the video
That's good,
from
brother.
Saturday that we dropped with Dr. Kirk Elliott going over.
That's perfect. Yeah, just that little clip. I wanted to play that to just to get your juices flowing, brothers and sisters. What'd you think of that?
Just what we talked about. All these, everyone's flowing together. There seems like there's actually some gold drops in the deltas. I think even today we talked about 17 gold Q drops with QAG. There's 23, which is pain. Also 23 means pain. There's multiple reasons for that, but one was Q exposed their password and it had 23 pain in there. So 23 gold Q drops on Q alerts. I didn't finish my thought there. So we're going to cover the gold stuff, how it connects to the Federal Reserve. We've kind of talked about it for a while. Tim was hitting nails on the head like crazy yesterday about some of that stuff. They sank the Titanic because the wealthiest people in the world were going to be on there, and some of them were actually opposed to the Federal Reserve. Again, the enemy we're up against are service to self entities, so they're always going to be in their self-interest, and they may step on each other in the process. That's why us service to others, and for all one, when we serve others, we're serving ourselves also. So anyways, these people will have different interests and fight each other. So John Jacob Astor was the wealthiest man in the world when the Titanic was ready for the voyage, and he was against the Federal Reserve, along with one or two other guys. I don't know the exact names, but Astor's a main character, and they basically had him killed. And then did the White Hats even back then fake his death? Who knows how all that goes? It's wild. Trying to figure out what's real, what's not. Was it even the Titanic that they switched it out with the Olympic for tax things? It's all the Titanic's a huge topic in itself, but it's connected to because the Titanic sank April 15th, and that's the day you owe your taxes, right? And so when that happened, they false flags or how they use all these to their advantage. But in particular, that stopped any way of really any people in the way of preventing the Federal Reserve becoming a thing. But especially they passed it in around Christmas time in Washington, D.C. in Congress because most people was away. And they basically committed treason by creating this because it's not ran by the people. It's not even the governments. It's a private corporation.
And remember, after the sinking of the Titanic, that's when the Fed started. That's when income taxes started. Prior to that, we had tariffs. Just so you know, in the history of time, leading up to the sinking of the Titanic, we the people had our power. We didn't have this corrupt banking cartel in our lives. And all of a sudden, those chain of events in history will prove that we are coming full circle. We are wiping them out, getting rid of the cabal, getting rid of the cartels, getting rid of that corrupt banking system and the income taxes, which you just saw Donald Trump from yesterday's cabinet meeting saying that there will be a time, probably in the near future, you won't be paying income taxes. And he basically said you can do with that money what you will. So he's basically saying you're keeping your own money in your own pockets, and you get to use the power of the purse to your liking, to bring your power back, so that we the people have our power back. So that in a short history lesson, it was I think it was McKinley was the president. They assassinated him. He was the big tariff president. They knocked him out. Then they sunk the Titanic. Then they brought in the Federal Reserve. Then they brought in income taxes, and here we are today, 100 plus years later, learning all about it.
Full circle, right? And that's how these evil, creepy, service sell people, that they think the long term, though. They do think the long term, and they make these long plans. I just found some good folders too, y'all. If y'all doing research and digging, make sure you try to organize your stuff. You can save, Instagram, videos you come across, or on X, you can save them. So I have a whole folder of Federal Reserve. I'm gonna bring that up. But Mel's got a 7-minute video for us about the Federal Reserve, so we're gonna play that right now, and we'll be right back.
Awesome. Thanks, Mel.
Got it, diggers, yeah? Bottom diggers? Okay. Oh, God. We got to show them still. Again, that we have the whole thing.
Yeah, if you wanted to go through this, I don't know. It goes through it. Yep.
What if there was more to the story than an iceberg and a faulty assumption that the ship was unsinkable? What if the accident was orchestrated to remove the powerful and wealthy rivals of J.P. Morgan, one of the men that owned the Titanic? If this were true, what could possibly be worth the lives of more than 1,500 people? Why would he do such a thing? Is there evidence that points to such a plot? It is important to understand everything that was happening behind the scenes and all the facts before deciding whether or not this could be true. The level of influence and wealth involved is staggering, and the more questions you ask, the stranger the facts become. So, is there more to the story about the sinking of the Titanic? Who are the players and what are the facts? J.P. Morgan, one of the most ruthless financiers of the age, was a strong proponent of the development of an organization that had yet to be built, the Federal Reserve. He believed that the Federal Reserve was not only a good idea, but a necessary one. He and his bank had to personally organize and oversee the bailouts of many smaller banks and businesses, using his leverage and clout to convince others to go along with his plans. He believed that a central bank system would ease the stress of the large banks that were at the mercy of bank runs caused by smaller banks and market forces. J.P. Morgan wanted a private version of the Federal Reserve as opposed to a government-controlled Federal Reserve, which was being proposed at the time by progressives in Washington. Only professionals and expert bankers should be in charge of the central bank, not government bureaucrats, thought Morgan. He was in favor of and a vocal proponent for the private Federal Reserve option. Other wealthy and influential members of society were opposed to the development of the Federal Reserve in opposition to J.P. Morgan. 3 of these people were Jacob Astor, Benjamin Guggenheim, and Isidor Straus. Isidor Straus was co-owner of Macy's department store with his brother Nathan. Benjamin Guggenheim was a wealthy Jewish-American businessman. Jacob Astor IV was the 4th generation of wealthy Astors who dealt in real estate, among other business concerns spanning the United States. Jacob Astor was the wealthiest person on the Titanic when it sunk and was, in relation to GDP, one of the richest men to ever live. These men, and many others, were opposed to the development of the Federal Reserve Bank, thinking that the system would give the bankers too much power. The bankers, including J.P. Morgan and the Rockefeller family, already had far too much power in their opinion, and they did not want to give them any more leverage. The Federal Reserve would do just that, and they were in vocal opposition to the idea. Having wealthy business rivals and strong personalities with differing viewpoints isn't uncommon in the world of high finance. However, the fact that these disagreements exist isn't enough to imply that the crashing and sinking of the Titanic was planned and coordinated by J.P. Morgan. Interestingly, when you dig deeper, you find a string of coincidences, incredible luck, and stories that don't quite line up. particularly when it comes to J.P. Morgan himself. What kind of coincidences and luck, you may ask? Well, while J.P. Morgan was scheduled to be on the Titanic for her maiden voyage, he abruptly canceled his trip at the last minute. Why was he not taking this momentous and grand voyage? He was supposedly ill. Fast forward 1 year, the year after the sinking of the Titanic, the Federal Reserve was created. With much squabbling in Washington about the details of the Federal Reserve Act, it passed, and the Federal Reserve was born. J.P. Morgan's vision of a Federal Reserve Bank controlled by bankers was not exactly as he would have wanted it. There was some federal government control wielded by the appointees to the Federal Reserve Board, but their control of the actual operation is limited. Some elected representatives were critics of the act and stated as much after it had been passed by Congress. President Woodrow Wilson himself, who helped form the bill and used much of his political capital to get it passed, eventually came to regret signing it. He said this near the end of his life. "I am a most unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country. A great industrial nation is controlled by its system of credit. Our system of credit is concentrated. The growth of the nation, therefore, and all our activities are in the hands of a few men. We have come to be one of the worst ruled, one of the most completely controlled and dominated governments in the civilized world. No longer a government by free opinion, no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and duress of a small group of dominant men." It would seem J.P. Morgan got his way after all. The Federal Reserve was created with minimal oversight from the federal government. He would never live to see the Federal Reserve in action, as he passed away in 1913, the same year the bill had passed. The question remains, did he have a direct hand in making sure that the opposition to this massive change in the U.S. financial policy was silenced? Would he go to such lengths to ensure the completion of this institution? Was it a string of coincidences and bad luck that led to one of the worst maritime disasters in history? Or were there more sinister motives at work? The truth to these questions may never be fully clear. The only certainty is this: deep at the bottom of the ocean lies the wreck of one of the most magnificent ships ever to be built. An unsinkable ship that met its fate one frigid April evening, taking with it 1,500 souls and a mystery that can never be solved.
All right. Good little info about the Federal Reserve, some of the background stuff here too. There's also the Q post put into the end list. Tim mentioned that, so I want to go to that Q drop just for a second because then I have a little bit of more info about it. Specifically, it mentions the 1913. So let me do that one.
Q 4961, 4961, brother.
4961 there. So I'll let my brother read this. Here's 4961. And Tim, I remember again, I was kind of that Ontas decode. I don't know if you were how much you were there. You were gone that day. I was explaining it. There's something with this, the 49, 59, 60, 61, kind of like the very beginning post, because there's 9 lines on this one too. So and there's less than 10. One of those
I remember I was there that day when you did that. Yes, I remember your little decode.
Okay. All right, and I just remembered though, one of the less than 10, there's only 9 less than 10 Q drops. One is on the people on the Titanic. It actually is one specifically there, and there's 9 lines here too. So why don't you go ahead and read this one, brother, if you like.
Okay, so we got date. We got 1108, so that's November 8th of 2022. That was our last batch of Q drops, by the way, folks. Endless lies, endless wars, endless inflation, endless printing of what? Money and or ballots, fake ballots, just saying. Endless oppression, endless subjugation, endless surveillance, hence why we need to switch our phones. Trump mobile, just saying. Who will put an end to the endless? That would be we, the people, and of course the help of the heavy lifting by the military and the Trump version 2 administration taking control. Q. That's what we're doing, taking control, baby. Let's go.
Indeed. And then I think it's the very next post. Yep, here it is. So let's read this one next. Q drop 4962 on 11/11 and 2022. So we did a whole episode too about 11/22. Also 11/25, other connection with that. 11/22, the date of JFK Senior's assassination attempt. And then 11/25 would be JFK Jr.'s birthday and the funeral of JFK. So we covered some of that stuff. That's an interesting date here. 8:45, that adds up to 17. And then 15. 4962 on the Q drop. Who are the silent thieves? Why are they manipulating you? How are they stealing your wealth? Bubble, crash, steal, lie, repeat. Okay, and that could even be like housing and everything else, right, too. What is inflation? Monetary manipulation. There you go. Taxation without representation. Put an end to the endless. 1913 Q. So again, it was Titanic was in 1912. And then they passed that in the evening, but then it officially became a thing. And the Federal Reserve was officially founded in 1913. Is that correct, Tim? I believe that's correct timeline.
Yes, yeah. And I think Melzie in the chat, Brittany, thanks, Brittany, for then thanks everybody for your comments too, by the way. But Brittany says 1913, the Federal Reserve Act passed, signed quietly during the Christmas recess by a skeleton crew of lawmakers while the nation was distracted. Interesting, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, and I still want to shout out all the Anons. I want to show General Apex's account again to do that. Susan Calloway, Jay Rosemary, all shared some different clips from us, so we'll come back and salute y'all. Again, Scott gave us a donation. Thank you, brother. And he's asking best way to donate. Maybe just get with us privately with our contact information. Again, we'll kind of shore up all that stuff. It's not our best skill set. We love just showing up and telling the truth, but trying to get better so we can be more professional and full-time with it. Professional as in
you can put it in. You can put it in one of those new Qschqql stockings for Christmas. Just slide it right
that
in
would
there.
be. Yeah, that's definitely. Actually,
you should show that. Speaking of Christmas, why don't we show that, Melzie? What do you got? Show us your. Let's refresh everybody's. Yeah, let's do the stockings and gift wrapping paper and what else you got up your sleeve, sister?
All right, hold on.
All right, she's gonna be showing some. I'll actually go to the channel too. It's hammertime.printify.
Let's just take us down.
.me. Yeah, bring us down. I'll share screen.
Yeah, speaking of the power of the purse and switching your spending dollars, well, here's a couple options for you, right from your friends at Qschqql.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool here. So Melzie made this one. You guys haven't got to see it yet. And there was the full circle with the whole thing too. If y'all were here for our very first daytime officially Qschqql, I think we call it 5.0 now. We wind up hitting this Q drop 25.98. And here it is in a stocking. It's Santa with the hammer, and then the sign by QA, and then it's got Hammer Time and Qschqql. Where we go one, we go on there, and the front part of the sock. But it's super cool. Creative ideas, and the Q drop is actually on there. We talk about shirts, but what a beautiful idea with the Christmas sock. And this is exactly how the Q drop goes. The Anon says Santa with a hammer, WA. It's kind of an odd thing. And then signed by QA. This Christmas we want justice. That was the Anon. And then this is the Q part, the red, confirmed QA to QAnon to hammer, more to find over time. Happy hunting Q. So there's a stocking you can get as well. Super, just really creative, and it helps support the Qschqql family. And we'll keep getting more different things here. We got a whole line here. We also got gift wrap paper with the Qschqqls on there. So this could be for any season, really. Let me put it this way where you can see it on there. It looks pretty sweet, I think. The Qschqql gift wrap paper. Again, you can use that for.
It's interesting. It does. From a distance, it does look Christmassy. Just on the logo, it's like the logo kind of looks Christmassy.
It is a little bit. Yeah, and then it's like, and then it's like fire too. So pretty cool. The wrapping paper. There's Qschqql. This one, the Qschqql where we go one, we go all, and we also have Pepe with the trucker hat 17 wrapping paper too. So those are pretty fun. Right there, you can see like
even that's Christmassy with the green and the red.
I know, red, white, and green. Look at that. It's like made for us. Perfect too. Yeah, so check those out. Yeah, definitely.
the
Matt loves it.
ornament.
Some more economical things. We got a little Qschqql ornament. You guys want to support us? Qschqql ornament. We got hats, mugs. We got is there stickers? You got stickers,
We
magnets,
do.
flags, all kind of stuff. So this is a pretty cool little white, just a nice white ornament with the Qschqql on there. Again, great conversation pieces. Or send it to your liberal friends and let them see how they.
So Melzie, I got a question for Melzie. So I'm going to like later today or tomorrow, I'm going to be ordering some of the stuff. I definitely want the stocking and the ornament for sure, and I'll look at the shirts and that. But how long does it take since when I order and to when I receive it? Like how long would it take? Because we're getting close to Christmas, right? So
It should go into production like right away. Within usually a week it does, unless there's an issue. Like with the embroidery, I had to go in and update the logo. So that took a little delay, but now it's in production, and then once it's done, it ships right out. So it's
okay,
pretty fast.
okay, good. So about a week's time.
Yeah, about a week's
Yeah, I
time.
probably
I'd
would
say.
let them know
So,
too, right? If that's maybe.
yeah, I'm going to be putting up some cups. Some other things too. We have, caps in here.
Some Q drops on the cups.
Yeah, the cups are really nice. Like this one, piece is the prize, and
Hold on, we don't see what you're sharing.
Yep.
Oh, you got on the
Yep.
side there. Oh, there it is.
piece
Okay,
is the
let me-
prize, and then the one that you have right there. There you go. Click on that one. I think this one has the Trump on the back. True Republic under military power.
Okay.
And that's only $7.68, so that's a really good price for a gift. And then I think that we have a Q post on another cup too that's out there. The boom one.
Yeah.
That's a
Oh,
black.
there's their view there. Trump, True Republic under military power. Some of that stuff. Again, hammertime.printify.me. I think it's on the bottom of the screen for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We got a kid's sweatshirt now with Qschqql. It's got the Qschqql on the front, 17 on the back. Pretty sweet. Different colors, of course, you can do 17 on the back there. So it's kind of like a jersey with the Qschqql on there. So I know
just so you parents know, we are not an indoctrination school like most of them are right now. We are the actual truth. We are the real patriotic kind of school. We just put a little Q before it. That's all. Qschqql.
That's right.
Yeah, and then I really like this one, the 17 on the zipper sweatshirt. So people don't like. Some people don't like the pullovers. I like sweatshirts a lot. So I don't have a lot of. I don't think I have any zippers. So I'm gonna get
the zipper one too, eh? The zipper one is
the
really
17
cool.
on the front. 17 on the front. So send like a jersey, and then the Qschqql on the back there on these ones are pretty cool. And then that's black. I think dark blue looks pretty neat. I think it might be getting dark blue. We'll see. Navy blue specifically. I think navy blue. So anyways, and then the more we use the site too, then we can keep getting more even like competitive prices for all the add-ons and different things, or we can get things in bulk and stuff too. So, but pretty excited we got all that stuff up there. So, and again, y'all, if you're with your phone, you can just scan that QR code or the web address on the bottom there, hammertime.printify.me. Also, we'll do another ticker, different ways y'all can donate to. You can also do the Rumble rant. We don't see it on ours and on Restream.
Oh, you're muted.
Elsie might be the only one that sees that, so please forgive us if we don't shout you out. If you do it on the Rumble rant, hopefully we'll see it and we'll shout you out. So again, thank you, Scott, for the donations. Thank you, Susan Calloway, for the videos y'all been making. All you guys are freaking awesome. Yes. But Jay and Susan specifically, and of course General Apex, awesome video you made for us, the intro. I'll show you guys' account in a little bit. Y'all want to support the channel for the holidays? We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We love showing up and giving y'all the truth, and we love all the love and support y'all give us too. So thank you guys.
Yeah, great job, you guys. Great job. What was I going to say? Okay, so is there anything else you want to add, Melzie? Because we're going to go right back into the Titanic, the gold conversation. I do have another clip for you guys too, but we have two Q drops in regards to the Titanic, if you want to pull those up too. But Melzie, what you got? Anything else you wanted to share? Anything we missed?
No, I mean, if we go back to the Q drops, that's that I was always like kind of interested, like, why do they put the Titanic in there? How does that tie to the Federal Reserve? So I thought that video did a really good job of kind of explaining that. And then, going into that, like, it is tied into it. And then, like we were seeing, why didn't Morgan get on, JP Morgan get on the boat? He canceled right before, just kind of like Silverstein did right before 9/11, not going to work that day. So did they have a tip off? Was that planned? It was an insurance thing. It sounds very similar. Like, they just kind of went, oh, we did this here back then. It worked out pretty good. Let's do it
It
again.
sounds like shenanigans to me. That's what it sounds like, shenanigans. So the Q drops,
Shenanigans.
the two Q drops in regards to the Titanic, there's only two of them, but it's Q drop 142 and Q drop 187.
Okay, let me so I just showed the one Q drop there, put an end to the one right after that too. So we just saw that, put an end to the endless 1913. Let me
Right.
show this. I found so here's some of my saved tab. I have Banker Wars on this one too. This is Instagram. You can have all these things saved in different categories. So this is all about Federal Reserve or things that how they manipulate our currency. This actual little list here was made by my buddy Chris O'Brien. He's under Come Out Better on the social medias. He's an awesome guy. I know him personally, but this Ali guy is resharing it. So FYI, this actually comes from Chris O'Brien. I've shown him a few times. So go follow his channel. He's super awesome. Part of the Water Tribe and stuff too. So
Can you read what it says there for us?
yeah, I'm
Make
gonna
it
read
bigger.
it. There's a list here too. So here we go. So 1913, we had the Federal Reserve. 1913, we had the IRS, the income tax. 1913, Rockefeller Foundation. So I believe that would even be like the education system that was put on by the Rockefeller Foundation, and they overtook our education system and the health industry. It used to be health industry, then it
Big
became the
pharma.
drug industry, allopathic,
Pharma,
and that's because big oil makes the drugs. Big oil actually makes the drugs, and then they also make the plastic. That's why we have all this single-use bullshit plastic when we could be making biodegradable plastic out of hemp. Instead, because big oil did that, they've been screwing us, and that's why we've been doing that. And then there's also brilliant people like Nature Jab _ I've shown him quite a bit. Julian, I'm missing his last name, the black guy, really brilliant guy that has a plastic electrolysis. It like melts the plastic and he gets out diesel fuel and gasoline too. So a lot of cool stuff out there. There's also people that have discovered bacteria that actually eat plastic and stuff too. So there's a million different ways we can clean up our planet, and it can happen very rapidly too. So stay optimistic about that stuff also. But Rockefeller Foundation single-handedly ruined our education and our healthcare by basically making us sick and dumb and dying. And I think it was Rockefeller or one of these guys, Rockefeller. Who's the other one? DuPont, but I think it was not Rockefeller, but the other, not Rothschild, but the other R. Maybe it's Rockefeller. But he said, I want a nation of workers. I don't want a nation of thinkers. Or he said, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. And they succeeded, right? They made us school be this repetition. You're memorizing. You're not challenged to critical think. You're not challenged to explore your own ideas and whatnot too, right? You're just told what's what. And it was all lies, we found out pretty much. Okay, American Cancer Society. There's some bullshit stuff too, right? Once you start poisoning people, they get cancer. People found a cure for that with
I think that they
frequency.
controlled the printing too. So they controlled like the printing of the books, the printing of the information,
endless
right?
printing,
Printing of the information for education, printing of the media. So maybe that was part of the printing too in that last Q post that we read.
Endless
because
printing.
there's maybe multiple printings. I just had that thought because I know that was part of how, because the homeopathy, like that natural path, doctors used to diagnose different. They used to do things differently, and they're educated differently too. So they had to change everything in it, not just, it wasn't just about money. It's about power and control.
Absolutely. Yep. And they control our thoughts of books, right? So that's what she's talking about. I didn't think about that. Printing of the books, right? The history books and everything else, the Rockefeller. And that's even you go to college and this is you're studying your medical degrees and then you slap on a badge like PhD and then they have their pride. They think they know everything and they don't realize they've been learning everything wrong, right? ADL Warburg, linked to Rothschilds, installs central banking. 1914, World War I. All in 1 year. Coincidence or installation? Okay, that's the first one.
What is Warburg?
That's a family name. So Warburg. Anybody want to do just a quick little?
Are they like the Warburg Hotel?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, big family. If anybody wants to just do a generic little thing in the comments, let us know a little bit about Warburg. We'll do some thing there. So 1912, the Titanic sinks. On board, John Jacob Astor IV. And I believe we're probably going to read the Q drops about the Titanic, so I won't go too deep into it. But essentially, Hollywood kind of completes the lie because John Jacob Astor died. And then in the movie Titanic, is John Jacob Astor's character is the one that actually lives. So Benjamin Guggenheim, Isidor Straus, I believe these three specifically were the ones who are against the Federal Reserve. Yeah, all wealthy, all opposed to the creation of a central bank. J.P. Morgan owned the ship and the whole cruise line. He canceled last minute. They did. Excuse me. The resistance sank. The system rose. All right. Next one here. 1913, the Fed is created. So that's what that reference to 1913. The Fed is actually created then, not federal, no reserves. A private banking cartel now controls America's money. They print, they lend, you owe. The US dollar became a tool, and your time became their interest. And that's your life force energy. The only thing you can't really get back is your time, right? So you're putting your energy and effort into making these dollars, and they created this system that it all flows back to them. And that's what that other Q post. What is inflation? Market manipulation. And this is all controlled by that. And it's I think it's Amhel Rothschild, or whatever how you say that dumbass name. Yeah, is that he was the one that said, allow me to control the supply and printing of a country's money, and I care not who makes its laws, because whoever controls the flow of the money controls everything, because then you own them. And that's how this was created, right? And then, so here we go. Warburg and Rothschild influence. If you see any good comments pop up on Warburg too, Melzie, let me know if you bring them up. Warburg and Rothschild influence. Paul Warburg wrote the Fed plan. And this would probably be at like the Jekyll Island meeting too, which is all connected. A German Jewish banker tied to the Rothschild network met in secret at Jekyll Island, there it is, with Morgan, Aldrich, and others. He didn't just suggest the Fed, he engineered it. Then became one of its first governors. Okay, so that's one of the Paul Warburg. Okay, 1913, the IRS is born. The same year they took over money, they started taxing your income. You work, they print. You pay them back with interest. It's not about funding government. It's about keeping you in the system.
Okay, hold on just a second. Huh? So Trump is saying like he's going to end your income tax, right? So isn't that pretty significant, I'd say? Huh?
Pretty significant for sure. This is the system. We're bringing it all down. That's why everybody hates it so much.
You mean end the Fed? You mean end the Fed?
Put an end to this fucking endless, right? And what's that? How they program me, right? There's only two things guaranteed in life: death and taxes, right? Hell no, we won't take that shit no more. Enough is enough. Okay, so let's keep going. This is a good one. 1913, Rockefeller Foundation. The oil kings go philanthropic. All right, this is where they start using, and think about how sick the system is, and also, let's say, brilliant by these cunning assholes, that they started donating their money to causes that ultimately benefited them. So then they got the tax-free things. Then they look like they're these great people, and they use their wealth, and it's all smoke and mirrors while they're doing this evil shit behind the scenes. Yeah. Right? We know the enemy. Anything to add about that?
No. Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, like Bill Gates, he's a philanthropist, right? And he's out trying to help the world with his vaccinations, and he's really, really not doing that. It's not
evil, pure evil. He's the gates of hell.
Yeah,
gates of hell.
So it's kind of interesting when I was writing grants for like the city of Truth or Consequences, there's a lot out there for philanthropy, right? But it's really hard to get those grants, and I could never understand why, because it's a rigged system.
Rigged system, and that's what we're seeing with Doge too, guys, right? The USAID, your non-government assholes, non-government organizations, all these things, right? Has been this network to keep the money back, and that's interesting a perspective of Mel, or anybody else that's tried to get grants and things, and some of it is jumping through hoops and stuff, but think about that. They're gonna block out all the shit they don't want so they can keep as much of the money for all their schemes, right? They don't want, and then now we're going to reverse all that, right? All this money, instead of being sent to Ukraine and going in military industrial pockets and trafficking children and back end deals with these politicians, it's going to go back to you, the people. And that's in all the countries, right? America's just leading the way. We're the last man standing there before we all went down.
Well, that's, like Venezuela too. Trump going after the cartel, because if they had election interference, that's that's
kind of like an act of war.
It's an act of war. Yeah. That's what I was looking for. It's an act of war, right? And the cartel has probably laundered money through Venezuela because it's so wealthy. It has gold, it has uranium, it has oil. I mean, it was the third largest oil supplier to the United States, I think, 35 years ago. So it's oil, like, quantity that it has is more than the United States, I think almost 3 times as far as what the United States is producing right now, because I believe that we actually have a lot more that we could produce, but that isn't. But what they've done there is tie in and launder their money, and then also influence our election probably for a very, very, very long time. And so, that ties into releasing us and freeing us from that whole cartel banking system that, we didn't even understand was going on. And that's why I guess I'm so grateful for the Q team. Like, how would you ever know how to go? Like, it's like this octopus that goes in so many different directions and has tentacles here and there, and you have to battle it all at once. You can't go after it and start kind of hacking a little bit here and a little bit there. And so that's why the media has come out, I think, so strong against, like, us and Trump.
Number 2 most attacked entity on the planet, sister. Carry on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's what we're being freed from. And that's why we fight, right? That's why we fight every day.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, yes.
And you brought up a valuable point about the Q Intel board too. I mean, to me, like, I think what it's really done for not only yourself, myself, and Kyle, and many others in this movement, since we've been doing the Qschqql and the Q drops, almost over 5 years now, is it helps paint a picture, a more digestible picture that you can see it for yourself. You can go, wow, were they really that corrupt? Were they really that evil? And they are. The bottom line is, like, other than, if we did, like we talked about this a couple weeks ago, you guys, if we didn't have the Q Intel or the Q drops, the Q crumbs, whatever you want to call them, we'd be so lost right now. All of us, we'd be just spinning around in circles, like chickens with their heads cut off, kind of thing, and not knowing what direction to go, and who to expose, what to talk about. I mean, at least
it would have never worked.
Yeah, we have like a solid foundation, a starting point, a place that you can, not only read. You start reading your Q drops, but a lot of them are about 70% of those Q drops are questions. Okay, about 65-70% are in question form. So when Q asks you the questions, what are you going to do? You're going to think about it. You're going to do some research about it. You're going to ask some other fellow Anons or digital soldiers in the movement about it. And this is collectively how we've all come together to paint that picture of understanding for our family and friends and coworkers. And I think that's why the Great Awakening has exponentially grown over the last 7-8 years, Kyle, Melzie.
Yeah, it seems to get like more momentum over time as well.
Well, because it's being proved, it's being solidified by the new, like that's the whole thing. Go ahead, Melzie. Yeah.
I just lost connection.
Okay. Yeah, and then even so, she might have got disconnected there. So even more so, also, I had some couple good thoughts. You were really flowing there, and then I lost track of a couple of them.
That's okay, brother. Let's go to the Q drops then.
Yeah, we'll go back to the Federal Reserve.
We have a couple of comments that are really good in the chat. If you could pull them up. Like, one is about who Warburg is, and then I think that we have a couple other good comments that are
good. And then you know what else I got, you guys? After we read those 2 Titanic Q drops, I've got like a massive, and it's based on this conversation, and it was from our fellow Anons over on that. They did a show last night, Delta Zero. We played a clip from them, I think, 2 weeks ago. They talk about the Titanic, Asper, and all that. It'll fit right into this conversation beautifully.
Okay. So let's see. The first one I see, so I'm kind of maybe working backwards. Look at this. Warburg Pincus is from Cindy. Thank you, Cindy. To acquire Raptor Technologies for around $1.8 billion. Sources say Reuters. Oh, that's very recent, though. That's November 28th. That's pretty interesting. Warburg coming up. I wonder if that's Raptor, like the F-22 stuff, or is that it's because it's all caps, so maybe that's a company. What else we got here? The Warburg family is prominent German and American banking family of German Jewish and original Venetian Jewish descent, noted for their varied accomplishments in biochemistry, botany, political activism, economics, investments, banking, law, physics, classical music, art, history, pharmacology, physiology, finance, private equity, and philanthropy. They originated the Venetian Jewish Del Banco family, one of the wealthiest Venetian families in the earliest 16th century. So there you go. There's probably these families. Yes, great dig. That's like the family bloodline stuff. They keep it all in the family, rigging the system and building their wealth, right? Let's see, Federal Reserve. We got that one already too.
And
Skeleton Tree of Lawmakers.
No, I think we played
We
that
just
one.
clicked that one.
Sorry.
Then we went all the way up there at the same time. That's weird. 1913. Thank you, Brittany Stover. The Federal Reserve Act passed, signed quietly during the Christmas recess. We might have brought this up, but I think it's important to bring up again. By a skeleton crew of lawmakers while the nation was distracted again. So again, everyone was out doing their thing, and they basically committed treason with that one. Let me follow up just a couple other things with the 1913 dig there on the Federal Reserve, and then we'll get to the Q jobs. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this really explains it well, I think, for everyone. So we're back on this one here now. Look good on the screen. There we go. 1913 Rockefeller Foundation. The oil kings go philanthropic. The Rockefeller Foundation begins reshaping medicine, education, science, and world health. They didn't donate money. They bought influence. That's a great way to word that too. So again, they're getting these tax-free donations, and it's not just donating because they're buying influence and then getting that tax-free too. So result, people are sicker and more dependent than ever, just how they wanted it. 1913 American Cancer Society, backed by a greedy psychopath wealth, marketed as charity, but tied to the same forces pushing patented drugs, industrial food, fear, chemotherapy, what a joke that is, came from war chemicals that were later banned in wars. So, hey, let's use it on sick people. They built the cancer industry, not a cure. It's a multi-$100 billion industry, the cancer industry too. By the way, folks, again, take care of your health, and that'll start taking money away from these greedy psychopaths. 1913 ADL. I wish I knew what that is. Is that like disabled? What is that? Position. Okay, yeah, civil rights group. That's right. It's Americans with Disabilities, something. But now functions to censor speech, shape narratives, and silence critics. It protects the system, not the people. So ADL's mixed in with there, right? That's all that woke stuff. 1913 was global positioning. Everything was set for World War I. Then 1914 came. And World War I, 1 year after 1913, war erupts. So think they distracted too, right? Once the Federal Reserve, people back then probably would have known more about what that actually meant. But here comes the war, right? World War I becomes the first fully industrialized banker-backed war. Who profits? The same families who now print the money. The pattern begins, problem, reaction, profit, right? And they were obviously investing on both sides of the war. Okay, even Henry Ford built the tanks that the Germans were using, and when American military blew up their tanks, Henry Ford sued the United States government for blowing up his American engines that were in German tanks, and he won. The United States government paid Henry Ford money for blowing up his engine that were in German tanks. Make that make sense. Okay, 1914, World War II, 1 year after World War 1913, war erupts. I guess I did this one already. Sorry. The pattern begins. Okay, next one. Sorry, guys. What changed after 1913? Since then, the dollar lost 99% of value. Okay, this goes back to their topic, getting on into cryptocurrency, gold and silver. When we went off the dollar, which wasn't till later, but it's still the same thing. The dollar has lost all of its value because the Federal Reserve can, if I lend $100 out, the Federal Reserve, now they can loan out, and I do a loan with them. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay you back the $100 you loaned me. Now they can loan out 10 times more than that. They can loan out $1,000 more that they don't have. So they're literally creating debt out of thin air. That's how absurd it is. Okay. And that's how the market manipulations are done, because the system would collapse, but they manipulate it. They pull some strings, they do a crash and all these moves because they know the system's designed to fail. So they do all these prop up things. That's why, be open-minded to letting go of this old system and welcome in this new system. It's going to be different, might be, and it's, totally different and scary, but it's going to be better for the people like we've never had before. Smart contracts, the wealth being returned to the people, not the other way around. Okay, so the dollar lost 99% of the value. Debt became endless. Oh, by the way, so again, some people are fearful of this whole digital currency thing, the crypto stuff, like 90, maybe 87%. It's something super close to 90% or more of our actual like printed paper money is not even in circulation. So if somebody says I have $10 million, we don't even have freaking $1 million barely of that in cash, right? For each person or whatever. So that's a very common theme. So the money's already gone because it was fake in the first place. So y'all just, that's some little teaser to start getting used to some of that idea. But the dollar lost 99% of its value since 1913. Debt became endless. There's more than endless. The debt is endless. Middle class was squeezed. War became constant, endless wars. Global banking expanded, which in this during then the crash is when they wiped out all the local banks too. The people lost power, the system gained it. It was quiet installation, no shots fired, no rebellion, right? That's fifth generation warfare, really. It's taking the art of war, taking the enemy without even having a shot fired. Just legal paperwork, lobbying, and legislation. The greatest power grab in modern history. Didn't need guns, just silence and strategy. Why most don't know this? Because the people who rewrote the system fund the schools, own the publishers, control the media, divide the masses. We know a lot of this stuff, but it's good to point it all out.
It is. It really is, because maybe there aren't some that don't know this,
Yeah.
and maybe like we can pass this, to people that could understand it a little better.
Yeah,
I mean, it's always good to review it too, because
absolutely.
as I'm looking at it, I go, how do you take that down again? Like when you have controlling families like that are so woven into our finances, into our politics, into our medicine, into our schools. It really is something that is a feat to take. I don't know, how do you say, like, I can't imagine taking that on.
That's what Tim says. How do you eat an elephant, right, brother? one bite at a time.
And
One
so
bite at a time.
I think it's important to understand the tentacles and their vast control, and that we're flipping that. Like if they seize all this, right? If they had anything to do with, I think it's crimes against humanity or corruption or let's say treason now, their assets are going to be seized, right? So think of all of that then redistribution of wealth that is going to be coming. And when Trump says, again, we're not going to be needing to pay any income tax because we're going to have enough in tariffs, that is putting an end to this whole system that we were entrapped in.
Amen. Amen to that. Yeah. Screw all these bastards, right?
Right?
For
like
sure.
We need to celebrate that,
Yeah.
right? Celebrate it. And so that's so exciting, I think.
And we're all part of bringing that down by doing these steps that we're talking about. Actually, Amy Overman on Instagram said she tried to get on the Trump phone, Tim, but they didn't have the service in area. But that's the start, guys. You're taking the steps, and proud of you guys for taking the initiative. We showed it. You did the next step, because that's the other part too. You can learn about stuff all day, but it's about taking the action. It's about using your voice. It's about speaking up. It's about tapping your neighbor on the shoulder or wrapping your arm around a buddy and say, "Listen here, ask them a question," or point them to the show or this or that. But y'all just can't be learning. It's just not just here to learn stuff, right? We're all here to work together and harmonize.
Amen. Yeah, well said, you guys. So we have a couple. There's a couple.
The prosperity that Trump brought in too yesterday with setting up the funds for our children. Like, I mean, what a celebration! No income tax, releasing us from that, and then setting up prosperity, right? And then prosperity too with the dividend checks and talking about that, whatever that is, the $2,000, blah blah blah. I bet it'll be a lot more than that. So I think the best is yet to come. Is really, it's not just a saying.
Well, it's so true, and the timing of it's perfect. The golden age, and I love the title, the golden age, because Trump has said, for the 250th celebration of the United States of America, that's when all of this stuff is kicking in, folks. I mean, we're just around the corner for Christmas and the New Year, right? So we're going to go into 2026 in less than 30 days, folks, and it's crazy to think of how fast time's flying by. But that next year, we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, which came after the U.S. military. Don't forget, we just already celebrated the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, right? The military. Now it's the country. And we've got the midterm elections. So, I mean, next year, folks, is going to be the rides of your lifetime. And one of the things I think Melzie and Kyle and I are always going to talk about and always remind our audience is to stay activated, stay on mission, get involved in your local communities, do those little things that you have the power to do. And just this conversation about what we started yesterday about the power of the purse, your spending dollars, setting up your own personal treasuries for not only yourself, but for your family, for generations to come. The options are there right in front of you. We just have to do a little more research. We got to work together and, kind of weed out the riffraff stuff and focus on what's good, what's there available now. And again, while the white hats and the military and the Trump version 2 are doing the heavy lifting. They really are. There's a lot of beautiful stuff they're doing behind the scenes in regards to the voting systems, the voting rules. So they're going to help clean up all that. Of course, we're going to call out everything that we see along the way, but they're trying to get rid of the mail-in voting, clean up the voter rolls, the U.S. Census, the voting machines. So that, they're doing that. They're also taking down the corrupt cabal, the banking system cabal, the big pharma cabal, all the bureaucratic cabal, all these big elephants that we talked about yesterday. So they're knocking all that down. And what they're doing is each time one of those dominoes falls down and we get rid of that clear, the world becomes a brighter place. We become more sovereign. More power comes back to we the people because they are doing the heavy lifting. But we all still have to play a part in this. We got to vote when it's time to vote. We got to take our money out of the banking systems or switch banks, go to the old glory bank. If you're in an established central banking system that we're just talking about today, the Federal Reserve and the bank, if you want to be part of the Rothschilds, by all means, it's your choice to do so. But you have an option to go to a patriotic bank. If you want to continue funding these bogus cell phone companies that have been ripping you off, that's your choice. The choice has always been yours, but we can make a difference. And I'm glad that Melzie and Kyle and myself were talking about this, especially now. It's so crucial going into the holiday season. You have so much to look forward to, you guys, and you don't have to wait for it to happen. You can start making it happen today. You could start right here, right now, and that's kind of what we're going to continue talking about. And I'm just so excited for everybody. I really am. I love this subject.
Booyah, baby. Get excited. It's the best part, guys. We've been through all the hard shit. Again, there might be a longer version. I think Tim will be careful saying the 16-year plan so we don't scare too many people, but it's going to be the fun part, right? I mean, we're going to go through these different obstacles, keep growing, but we went through the tough stuff, and now we get to start winning and celebrating, but it's going to be a road, and it's going to be paved, one brick at a time, one step at a time as well, too. So
one golden brick at a time.
One golden brick at a time. Amen. All right, just a couple more slides of this one, and then we'll do those Titanic key drops and anything else you want to do, Tim, before Tim probably got to run off. So just a couple more here. Why most don't know this? Because people who rewrote the system, fund the schools, own the publishers, control the media, divide the masses. Remember, divided we are weak, so pay attention to all those clips, whether it's on news or social media, all the fights, all the stir-ups, it's if you want to point them out. But I'm a big fan of not resharing that kind of shit. I don't want to give it any energy. I don't even like it. I don't turn around. It's dumb, so that's just my thoughts. Everyone's teach their own, but we're not going to do any good by highlighting when people are fighting each other when we know who the real enemy is. That's why Q was here too, right? Like Tim said, is expose the enemy. We know their playbook too. When you know their playbook, they can't pull these games anymore, right? We know their symbolism now. They're out in front and center. They're all we shine the spotlight in them, so their tricks don't work anymore. The next step is saying we're not taking anymore. We do not consent, and then we step into our power and say, "Get the fuck out of here." You know what I mean? That's really what it's all about. We're in that process. So they don't bury the truth. They simply never teach it. They give you their version of history, not necessarily the truth. I think Amy or somebody on Instagram even said everything we learned in school or loved history, and everything they taught us in school is their history, right? Yeah. This is the system we still live in. Every crisis, every war, every crash is built on a system born in 1913. Since we've had this Federal Reserve, they literally had us under basically control. The Fed prints, the IRS collects, foundations guide policies, NGOs, non-government organizations, or as I say, non-government assholes, shape opinion, and you stay distracted. The world didn't change in 2020 or 2001 or 1945. A big shift happened in 1913, and most people never noticed. What looked like progress was a takeover. A new system was installed, and you were born into it. There's the rest of that too. So, good article there about 1913.
What a nice thread.
Yeah, it was a good little.
That was amazing.
Yeah. And that's what's cool about Instagram. You do the different slides. People have the music. We all got so well connected there. I think TikTok's going to come back soon. We did lose one of our videos on Qschqql on YouTube. That's the first time we lost one in a while since YouTube's been unlocked. We were joking with him ahead of time. It was a great clip. I think. Let's see. Susan had.
I'm good at getting people kicked off of YouTube. Remember Sister Yeg, my big sis Yeg? I got her kicked first time ever.
That's right. YouTube. I forgot about that. She.
That was our pajama interview we did. did after midnight the first time when we first
She's
met.
never been kicked off, and
The
Tim
next
kicked
day,
her off.
she got kicked off of YouTube. Couldn't believe it. We laughed so hard.
Check this out here. So I think this is what it's from here. So here's again Susan Calloway on Instagram, Sousa SUSAYQ73. Susan Calloway, but she's crushing on TikTok also. Mag5 over here on Rumble. If you see here in the chat, Susan Calloway. Thank you for all the beautiful stuff you've done for us.
Love, Sue. Love,
family. She put this this reel here, Tim. So check this out and listen to the words you're saying. Tim, you said, if we shoot them or we execute them or something like that. I'm like, oh, maybe it was those words since he said we and stuff. So I think it's right here in the beginning. Let me play.
And I love the title. This Christmas we.
Oh, that is you. I was like, hold on, Tim. I thought it was muted. It was Tim. Here we go.
Want justice. So justice comes in many forms. Justice, yeah, we want to see arrests. We want to see people, the bad, evil taken out, destroyed, whatever. If they execute them, if they hang them, if they lock them up in prison for the rest, whatever, however that plays out. But justice is also the return of the wealth that they stole from us.
Yes.
And that's the direction that we're heading into the future.
I said it there too. So there's Tim. That's Susan Calloway. She had me as a collaborator. Thank you, Susan, as well. Appreciate y'all.
That was an honest statement. I mean, like they're going to go down one way or another. Like everybody goes 6 feet under eventually. How you get there is up to you, right? It depends how you want to go there.
And you actually did say they. You didn't say we. I thought for some reason I heard it we. They, whether they execute him or shoot him, he's just making a statement. We were thinking maybe I don't know, put a 106, a 107.
Well, what is the penalty for treason again? I just want a quick reminder.
I think it's death.
Death, not more than 20 years. Or
I don't feel that we should censor ourselves.
We don't.
No,
we don't.
Like if they're gonna take us down, then that's what's gonna happen.
And
I just feel that's been part of the battlefield, is having that happen. And then I guess Kyle taught me to get back up there and
Mel's back on X and Jay's back on Instagram. Jay's on X, back on X too. So we gotta stay true to who we are. Y'all know that that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep speaking the truth. Y'all gonna see it. But I think we see that these platforms have been unlocked, and actually I'll encourage Mel, any of y'all get these little bands or little flags, automatically challenge it, and we usually get replaced because a lot of it's still like old AI that's in place that's flagging this stuff. So like I said, maybe Tim, you gotta say what you gotta say, but maybe however the wording came out flagged it. Mel, maybe y'all can go ahead and still appeal that and be able to get put back on. But worst case, we're at everything on Rumble. Rumble doesn't censor, so Hammer Time, rapid fire Q News over on Rumble. But thanks for watching us over on X and Facebook.
And we don't know what it could have been. It could have been something. It may not have been.
Yeah, you have to look at it. If they don't tell you if it's vague, then still appeal it.
So I'm not going to spend or waste time on doing it, I guess is what I'm saying. It's, it's part of that thing that happens sometimes.
Yep. So we're gonna do the two Titanic Q drops now, Tim, or what do you want to do next?
Yeah, let's do those 2 drops because we love our Q drops, right? And then I've got that beautiful clip from last night's. It was late last night before I fell asleep. I watched most of it. The DEFCON 0 show, which is another couple of Q-tards, great anons. That Josh Reed's in this one. Melzie, I know you. We love Josh Reed. The guy
I love Josh Reed. Yeah, he's great. He's got an amazing mind, and
it's unbelievable. He's like,
I think like military analysis because he was in the military, but he also has a really great concept of technology
history. And history.
But technology too, because that was my interest. So but he does. He's just great, very well rounded, I'd say.
Yeah, so that's going to add a lot to today's show too. So I love that we can bring in, like we played a little bit of LT and we know earlier, we're going to play a little bit of DEFCON 0. And I do have a clip too that I wouldn't mind you playing just to give her a beautiful shout out. She's worked so hard in the movement, and many of you may or may not know, but Defender of the Republic, she's that beautiful lady with she always has the blue and red streaks down her hair. She's always bouncing from event to event. She's been at Mar-a-Lago many times. She was re-truthed not once but twice by Trump yesterday, and I've got the clip for you too. So we'll give her a nice shout out to Defender of the Republic, beautiful patriot. She was on Alex Jones actually yesterday. Alex Jones even.
Making some big moves.
Yeah, we are the news now. Like the Anons, the ones that stuck true to the plan, true to their word, true to the mission. They're the ones now you're starting to see are starting to become forefront. I really believe too, a lot of these, what we call our side kind of news, like you've got Real America's Voice, you've got maybe a little bit of Fox, not a whole lot, but a little bit. You got, your John Sullivan's, like they're watching the boards, guys. They're listening to. They're listening to the different shows and podcasts that we, the Anons, are putting out there for many years, because you can tell the way they're talking on their news when they're releasing the news. They're bringing out, usually we're ahead of them. So we'll break the news like today, and then tonight they're going to say, oh my God, yeah, this happened. Yeah, we already talked about that earlier today. So why are you bringing it up now? But they must be getting the news from us, but we are the news now. But
we are the news
and
now.
you know what great joy it must bring them to watch us and to see it, like that we get it and what we're doing, and the grassroots movement of the Nons getting together and supporting each other and unifying and teaching and sharing information.
We're coming along. We're trusting the plan. It's coming. It's finally coming together, guys. And y'all seen it. Y'all seen it since we've been doing these Qschqqls, especially hopefully like if the map is alive, the Q drops are alive. Of course, it helped us come together.
Oh man, even Josh Reed said that last night. He said almost identically word for word what you just said. Josh Reed said that same thing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I got chills.
It's crazy because, I mean, it's literally, if y'all want to understand what's happening today, follow us in the Q drops. It maps it out. You know what I mean? No one knows exactly what's happening, but we understand what the big picture is, right? And where we're going and what the dealio is. So it's pretty special. So let's do some fun stuff with Q drops before we got, I'm sure Tim maybe got to take off here, but I want to show a couple things here. So I did the Titanic search. Let me show this too, just to show the connections. If you guys haven't seen it, today we're going to kind of cover gold, Federal Reserve, all these things. It just kind of came to me. We're going to do this today, which I was thinking today was Tuesday, but it's Wednesday. I was wrong on that one. 17 Q drops on QAG, QAGG.news with gold. Okay, QAG numbers, either it's directly in the post as a written word, or Q responds directly to an anon or another Q drop with the word gold in there, or whatever word you're searching. Q alerts, though, you'll see more numbers on Q alerts. They have 23 drops with gold, because they will have different images where they add a little context on things to them. So let's say if an image had gold in it, and you might see some other places. So there's a few extra Q drops over on Q alerts, 23 drops with gold. Some other connections too. Tim found this one long ago when we were doing Qschqqls every day. We were searching different terms. This is when we started really seeing the connections. This one was a big one because he searched less than 10 with the 10 in it, less than 10, and there's 9 Q drops exactly. So that's the confirmation. I did mention it when negative 48 was in Qschqql, and I said it's not less than 10 on Q teams. They'd never give us that answer, especially when they confirm it right here with operators never divulge in the same post. But I said less than 10 Q posts can confirm the maps. It was like a lock. It's some sort of code, right? With all this, never going to tell us directly what the answer is. He confirmed that. That's what I mean. Whatever that means. So I'll just add that. So right here, Q drop 60. On November 2nd, 2017, 1903, 36 on the timestamp. You can count the people who have the full picture on 2 hands. Of those, less than 10 people, only 3 are non-military. Why is this relevant? Game theory. Outside of a potential operator who's been dialed in with orders specific to his or her mission, nobody else has this information. Operators never divulge. Alice in Wonderland. So pretty famous one. Most people, Anons, Q team friends, all say kind of I can't talk right now. Rehearse or reiterate kind of verbatim this thing. Less than 10, 3 are non-military. But information is the most important thing in the war, art of war. So information and using deception. They would never tell us how many people on the team is the most important mission information you could have. And they don't need to do that. They validate themselves by 0 deltas, timestamps with the president, by Air Force One flying under Q0, or military planes flying under 1 Q and 1 Anons. Million different ways to validate themselves. They don't need any clout by saying how many people are on the team. So that's how you start really learning the Q drops, when you question everything, including Q, and you understand the misinformation, the disinformation, the mirrors, the misdirections, and all kind of comes together very beautifully. But I just want to show the less than 10 because it's going to combine with our Titanic drop. So less than 10, 9 Q drops. This is a big part of the map. I'm going to keep trying to teach it. Again, there's 17 Q drops with gold. right? And I believe there's 43 different search terms on QAG, whether it's a word or a phrase that has exactly 17 Q drops in it. But 43 confirmed connections. This to me is also a confirmed connection. If I put it in less than 10, there's 9 drops. That's a confirmed connection. So is that maybe one of them too?
Well, 9 is less than 10.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, literally, that's what it means too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about it, right? That's how we understand search terms have a relevance to how many drops there are. It's a big part of this whole thing. So here's a few other ones. This one's pretty fun, short and simple, that less than 10 can confirm me. This is Q drop 244. Do it Q coincidence. That's crazy because I was going to bring up that Q drop yesterday for whatever reason, what we were covering, or maybe the day before. Twitter retweet coincidence. Twitter keywords coincidence. Again, this is very early on. It's only Q drop 244. How Q team was proving themselves coordinating with the president. Pics coincidence meant only for you, anons. And these specifically would be the autist anons who were on the chans or were lucky enough to come across the Q drops that early on. I found them in late November 2017, December, but I had to wait for the third-party apps to drop the drops. I didn't really know how to go around the chants. God bless Q. Now, let me show this real quick here. Let me go to the Titanic drop. And we have 3 Q drops with Titanic. Tim said 10, so I'm kind of curious which one we're missing here. But I see 142, 127, and 187. So I think I'm going to do 187 first because it's a nice summary of the evil we're up against and the Anon piecing together, whether it's, Anon or Helper Anon. But Trump would say 187 a boatload, especially in, I believe the 2020 campaigns, maybe also the other ones too, Tim, right? He'd say I had gas at $1.87. So Tim and I, especially Tim, was really good at decoding Trump rally speeches, breaking down the numbers and all the Q drops. He would say 187 all the time. So here's this Q drop from November 21st, 2017. So that'll be a delta in, I guess that was last week. We're in December. Shit, I thought it was November still. Anyways, hopefully I know what year it is. Anon says, my actual conclusion is probably what's delayed me the most, as it's been mind-blowing understanding our country now. I totally get it. Current conclusions. So Titanic, Rothschild screws America by making our money worthless. Crash of 29, that's talking about the stock market crash of 1929, which was designed to, again, scare people and also suck up all the local banks. They said, we need big central banks to protect all these local banks that failed. But just like how the media sucked up all these local news organizations and bought them up with the big organizations, which is basically a monopoly, the Rothschilds did the same thing with the stock market crash. They bought up all the smaller banks too. Okay, tons new government, which doesn't fix the problem Rothschilds created, but a war helps, right? They sure do love their war. Okay, then create the CIA. Everyone blackmailed with sex tapes. Media consumed CIA. That's your Mockingbird media. This is the Anon breaking this all down. Country forced hard left. That's because the media is controlled. And we've shown some great videos on that too. It's 93% of media self-identify as liberal now. It used to be 70-30. Even still back then, it was never close to 50-50. Country forced hard left. Population to puppets. Causes uprising by certain patriots like Kennedy, Reagan, and Trump. And while they managed to kill Kennedy and outlast Reagan, which they did shoot him, it seemed like he kind of got in line after that, enough lessons were learned that we are now finally ready to clean house and become America again. First time in about 100 years. Wow. And that's exactly what Trump said. And Q just repost this. So they didn't say confirmed. My kind of own assessment, when Q does this, reshares something, my own assessment is good job. You're on the right track. Keep going, though. I think when Q reshares, I think that means keep going. That's what I believe. So y'all do your own assessments on that. Tim's probably doing something with Matthew, so we'll cover these other 2 Titanic drops. Go ahead and come on in whenever you want, Tim, if you like. Otherwise, he's probably busy. So I'm going to have Mel read this one, give myself a little break. If you're ready, 127 Q drop. This is the second of 3 Titanic Q drops. We'll see if there's more on Q alerts, but I don't think there's many. Here's the very first one chronologically. It's 127. And on the date, go ahead and do the date and the timestamp. Let me flip these so we see what order they're in. And then go ahead and read 127 for us, Melzie. Wait, flip it again. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, so it's 1107, so 117.
117 again.
Yep. And 1905, so 10, I'm not good with math.
7:05 p.m. And there's a 559 in there. Alpha Squad 45. Here's the Q drop.
Okay, the graphic is your key. Let's pause and say hello to the rogue intelligent agencies currently monitoring these threads. Ooh. Was the money worth it?
Was the money worth it? So again, anybody isn't familiar with the Q operation, nobody had ever seen anything like this in the history of the world. Basically asking the civilians to help the military, and this was a psyop, a psychological operation to challenge people to become critical thinkers, do their own research, to start organizing, to learn politics, to get involved, right? All the things, plus, exposing our enemy. That's what the Q operation was all about. So when they came on, nobody had ever seen anything like this. So all the intelligence agencies, every tool the deep state had was trying to figure out what this Q drop was, which is more signs that if it was just some kid in the basement, it would have been exposed so fast, so ridiculously, especially the media, if they're spending millions of dollars and thousands of articles to attack Q and QAnon, they would have doxed this kid if he was in his basement. The only way nobody knows who Q is because it is a military operation of the highest order, period. The fact that nobody knows who Q is a Q proof in itself, period.
Yes.
Enough said.
Enough said.
So, and then as Tim hit it too, and I've kind of said this stuff over the years, is when you find something, let's say you have a theory on something, I always use like looking at the object, right? It's like a pyramid type object. One side looks like a triangle, from the bottom it's a square, and then one other angle is a different looking object, right? If you're like, oh, it's this three-dimensional object with different shapes and sizes, you're going to look around each spot, and if it's the truth, it's going to keep validating itself, right? If you're like, oh, no, it's just a square, you come around and you look, and it's actually more pyramid, and if you're based on a lie, it's going to fall apart. So basically, if Q was full of shit and there was nothing there, the most brilliant autists in the world that have been dissecting these Q posts for now 8+ years would have got bored and moved on, and we would have just exposed this and been done with it. But it just keeps validating itself even more so now. We've talked about that. The Q proofs are quantum. They're happening more rapidly, and they're more in your fucking face. That's why y'all are here. You see it, and hopefully I'll keep encouraging others to come on board and ask questions and start paying attention and not become panicans, because we know there's a plan. You still got to do your part, live your life, and take care of yourself, and do the thing you came here to be. Don't just sit on your couch waiting for this all to be over. We didn't come here to this life 400 quadrillion to 1. The sperm cell hitting their egg or whatever. For y'all just be average, sit on the sidelines. So get your ass up and have some fun in this life and get pissed off at these greedy psychopaths. Their time here is nigh. How you doing, brother Tim? Just in time for the third Q drop. This one's the big one.
Awesome.
Just want to check in with you. Doing okay?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, I just had to take a little time out break here. Yeah, everything's good. Thank you. And I've got that.
Capital market that has nothing but.
Hang on, Josh. Hang on a second.
You got a video for us? Okay,
yeah, I'm queuing up the exact timestamp for you to play Josh and Alpha Warrior. Yeah.
Okay. So while he's working on that, I'm going to read Q drop 142 here. So this one's 11/12, 2017. How did Soros replace Family Y? Not going to go into too much decodes. We've covered these drops over the last few months. Who is Family Y? Trace the bloodlines of these three families. What happened during World War II? Was Hitler a puppet? Who was his handler? What was the purpose? What was the real purpose of the war? What age was George Soros? What is the Soros family history? What has occurred since the fall of Northern Germany? Who is Angela Merkel? What is Angela Merkel's family history? Follow the bloodline. And here's what I say. It's really interesting when Q drops take a seemingly different turn because it's all connected, right? So follow the bloodline of Angela Merkel's family history. Now Q asks, who died on the Titanic? That seems odd to me. Obviously, there must be some sort of connection. What year did the Titanic sink? We've been covering that quite a bit now. Put it in the chat if you've been paying attention. It's not 1913, so when was the Titanic? And what year was the book? Maybe we'll show that too. It was originally called Futility. It originally changed its name to The Wreck of the Titan. Who knows about that book? The Wreck of the Titan. It was originally called Futility, though. And when was the book Futility, aka Wreck of the Titan, written? And when did the Titanic actually crash? Put that in the chat. I want to show that that comment for everyone else. What you got there, Tim? Yeah, the puzzle. Oh, that popped up on my screen. Okay, why is this relevant? What exactly happened to the Titanic? What class of people? Was my Matthew there? Oh, Matthew, what's up, brother? Oh, he's got the Thor shirt on. I almost wore that today too. Right on. Hello, Matthew. We love you, brother. Okay, what exactly happened to the Titanic? What class of people were guaranteed a lifeboat? Excuse me, the rich, aristocratic. Why did select individuals not make it into the lifeboats? I don't know that exact answer. Why is this relevant? How do we know who was on the lifeboats? D or A? I believe that stands for dead or alive. How were names and bodies recorded back then? I've had that answer somewhere. Can't remember now. When were tickets purchased for her maiden voyage? Who was specifically invited? Here's the connection, Tim. Less than 10. Who was specifically invited? We have another less than 10 key drop. One of the 9 connects on the Titanic. That's really here.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it asks, what is the Fed? So think mirror. Maybe there's less than 10 federal assholes that are connected to this cabal state, right? And we also know about the Pentabret. Tim and I have done some episodes on. It's pretty cool.
Well, I think what the families do is they put their money into the Federal Reserve, and then they can control the printing and control, all of it, right?
If I even understand it too, and Tim's talking about that, and that's what crypto is also going to do for us. I wish I could explain it better to y'all, but what the Rothschilds essentially do is they are their own bank, right? They're their own banks. So they make money off of everything, and then you can be your own bank, and that's all based on trust. Also, trust funds and trust, and your wealth is protected. It's private. You can't get it back, and then it comes back to them. So what the Rothschilds essentially did, instead of just having like a trust fund for their wealthy offspring, and that's what happens is if you just give these kids a bunch of money, there might be irresponsible with it. They might F it off, or maybe they're really driven. They want to do something big, but then they blow it, right? They put it all on a project, but then they don't succeed. So what the Rothschilds thought of is they basically gave their offspring would have these trust funds that they couldn't, like, that would be monthly, basically funding coming in that they couldn't spend. It was like you had to be used in a certain way to basically ensure your prosperity for generation after generation. You don't have one that could just throw it away, because they were their own banking system. And we can do the same thing. We, the people, can do that. And cryptocurrency and these other banking options give you that power too. So start looking more into that. That can really give your family lasting wealth, lots of different things, and setting up these trusts and stuff too.
They would also intermarry, so
yes,
so that they would keep the wealth into certain families. So that's how they, made their families more powerful.
And Mel's seen that really personally, right? In your personal lives, living with some really wealthy ambassadors and stuff in her different situations. All y'all out there, maybe y'all some worked in some cabal corporations before. I know lots of friends have all been mixed in some of these places, or y'all met some different Illuminati type folks, or you've had some different, there's been a lot, I'm sure, I know some of you out there, some crazy stories, people came to your life. So let me keep going here. Who was specifically invited on the maiden voyage of the Titanic, which was actually the Olympic? Less than 10. What is the Fed? What does the Fed control? The supply of money, really. Who controls the Fed? Not us. Who approved the formation of the Fed? Right? This was basically like an act of treason. It was some
Woodrow Wilson.
Woodrow Wilson was the president. We showed that earlier. Why did Hollywood glorify Titanic as a tragic love story to distract? Probably what it's about. And then who lived in the movie? What man? Again, I believe that's the John Jacob Astor character, was kind of the guy that wanted to be with the girl with the necklace that ran off on him. I think that was John Jacob Astor, and he lived in the movie. And then, so why is this relevant? Opposite is true. What is brainwashing? What is a psyop? Well, that's also what Hollywood was kind of formed for, right? Hollywood completes the psyop. But make no mistake, there's been white hats in Hollywood for a very long time. So there is also seeding our consciousness from the white hats in movies as well, too. Jay's great with all those decodes and comms also. And then this is an interesting question here, though. What happened to the Hindenburg? What really happened to the Hindenburg? I don't know enough about this. Something tells me it connects to hydrogen. Hydrogen is actually a very inexpensive fuel to use, and it's actually very safe. There's a certain kind of hydrogen that's really safe. The one kind of hydrogen is unstable, but there's a safe kind. And again, I think the Hindenburg was basically demonstrating this free energy, ways we could have travel that wouldn't cost a lot of fuel. And then also, I think it's connected to who the people that were on that Hindenburg. They did a false flag. They killed them in the accident because they were probably against whatever else the cabal didn't want to see come out. right? So that's, I think, what's happening. But I've never seen a real good dig on this. So anybody out there with the AIs or good diggers, we should do something on the Hindenburg, because I'm kind of curious what this is all
We need
about.
brother Peacekeeper back on track.
Peacekeeper would be perfect
Yeah.
for this one too, Tim. And my favorite show of all time, Archer, which tons of disclosure in there. They go on a ride on an airship, so I don't think that was an accident.
I don't know the exact details of the Hindenburg either, but just based on the fact that both of them were brought up in this one Q drop, tell me that they're both relative. They're both like the Titanic did not. It sank. It wasn't an accident. Let's put it that way. It was an orchestrated, planned event. So was the Hindenburg. So who were on those voyages? Well, who did they have to get rid of? That's basically the way you got to think of this. And the further you read down the Q drop, the more it'll explain that 99% of the truth would put people in the hospital. These people are evil, pure evil. So they were hit jobs basically. That's the cabal. That's how they take out their people. They take out lots of them too.
Well said. So I just searched a little, just the basics of it here. The Hindenburg disaster occurred in May 6, 1937, when the German airship LZ-129 Hindenburg caught fire and was destroyed while attempting to land at Naval Air Station Lakehurst in New Jersey, resulting in 36 fatalities. Overview of the disaster. The Hindenburg was a German commercial passenger airship, notable for being the largest airship ever built. On May 6, 1937, during its attempt to dock, it suddenly burst into flames, leading to a catastrophic crash. The disaster claimed the lives of 35 people on board, 13 passengers, 22 crew, and one additional fatality on the ground out of the total of 97 people aboard. Some lived, that's cool. Events leading up to the disaster, the Hindenburg had completed a transatlantic flight and was returning to the United States for a second season of commercial service. On the day of the disaster, it was delayed due to poor weather, yada yada. Landed late afternoon, pushed mooring mast. Fire broke out quickly engulfed the airship in flames. Eyewitness accounts and newsreel footage captured the dramatic event. Think about that. They got it on the news, which shocked the world and marked a significant turning point in aviation history. I kind of want to look at this theories and cause, if you guys don't mind. If I
I'm
can
going to say sabotage there.
Yeah, the exact cause of the fire remains a subject of debate. I bet it does. Various theories have been proposed, including static electricity or lightning. Some believe that a spark ignited the highly flammable hydrogen gas to lift the airship. Again, I really don't think that's accurate. I think there's something else going on there. Ground crew negligence.
Well, what does it say to Q drop? The opposite is true.
The opposite is true. Although the theory gained traction, it was largely dismissed by officials at the time about ground crew negligence. Let's see the aftermath. This is kind of the important part. Let me make sure this isn't going forever. Yeah, this is the last little bit here. The Hindenburg disaster effectively ended the era of passenger airships. As public confidence in air travel was severely shaken, the incident was widely covered in the media, and the haunting images of the burning airship, like I said, they caught that on air, imagine that, became iconic. The disaster also led to increased scrutiny of airship safety and regulations, ultimately paving the way for dominance of fixed-wing aircraft and commercial airline. And then think about also having that need for the security, right? And how invasive our airline industry security is now, right? In summary, the Hindenburg disaster was a pivotal moment in aviation history, highlighting the risks associated with airship travel and leading to significant changes in the industry. So, like Tim said, the opposite is true. Who died during the accident? Why is this relevant? What are sheep? Who controls the narrative? Just like Tim said, the truth would put 99% of people in the hospital.
Put on the light bulb.
It must be controlled. Snow White, Iron Eagle, Jason Bourne, CIA/Dream Q. So there's the Titanic drops, and it also lined up this one with one of our 9 less than 10 drops too. Also, so thanks for letting me read those drops. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's we'll give your throat a little bit of a rest, and we'll play about I think it's about 8-10 minutes worth of last night's show, which is called. I gotta look at my notes here. Delta Zero is the show. At the bottom of Diggers, I put the link for you on the bottom of Diggers if you want to pull it up right away.
Oh, okay.
Go to 1 hour and 4 minute mark. So there's a 14 for you. Q drop 14. Just saying, 1 hour and 4 minute mark. And let's listen to what Josh Reed has to say about all this.
All right. I haven't seen what's going on in the back here. Why did I click the link? It didn't open. Oh, there it is. DEF CON. 1 hour, 4 minute.
Yeah, 1 hour, 4 minute mark. We'll play it for about 8 to 10 minutes worth until like whenever you think like it's going to relate to a lot of the things that we talked about in today's show. But Josh does an amazing job filling in the gaps. He talks about financial, talks about the Titanic, talks about the Fed, and kind of you can see how he works his magic through the Q Intel board also. Plus his knowledge, like Melzie was saying, his experience as being an anon, a beautiful autist. I mean, high power autist for sure. High level autist right there.
Wonderful. Yeah. So we'll let this play. We'll take a short little break. Let them kind of recap all the different things we've been wanting to cover. Again, I think there's a few deltas on that have gold today too. I don't know if we'll cover all these things. There's also this really cool video
there's
that
14 deltas just saying. So we're
14?
starting this clip at 104. And
right.
there's 14 deltas. And I think he does talk about Qdrop 14 in here too. He does
and
mention
Qdrop 14 we mentioned the other day too, and that's also the more high def images in Qdrop 456, which is the movies 456 playing. Qdrop 456 is Washington, Crossland, Delaware. So all those really cool connections, definitely. All right, let's take a look here. Oh, and the video I'm looking for, guys, it's an AI video talking about if they went into Fort Knox and there was no gold there, what would happen. It's a really good video. If y'all can find that, let me know, please. It's a AI again. The guy is showing the words, it's just speaking over it. And if there was no gold in Fort Knox, what would happen? That makes a lot of sense to me because, you know, we know there's this shift coming. I think I mentioned this yesterday, but I don't see a stock market crash coming because they'll blame that on Trump no matter what. But if this was a scenario where you went in to check Fort Knox, there's no gold there, gold skyrockets, basically all the things start taking place, which would encourage all of us to shift to a different system. And it wouldn't be Trump's fault. He's just exposing more of the lies. So nobody knows what's going to happen. But that, if I can find that video, it'd be really good to tie everything together. But let's go to what's this main channel? DEFCON 0, Tim, and they're under the Badlands, or no? Yeah, Badlands
yes,
Media.
They are. Yeah.
They are DEFCON 0, Badlands Media, one of our beautiful army of digital soldiers in the movement, and Tim's always making the rounds, checking these guys out. So we're going to watch these guys for a little bit and let them break down some of these events we got coming up here and all the connections that we've been making also. Here we go.
Derivatives trades that flow through it, that basically prop it up and keep it going. Why did the Federal Reserve inject $18 billion into the capital markets yesterday? Why? Because it's filled with nothing more than credit, fake money. There's a liquidity crisis. There is no wealth to redistribute with this Nasara Jassara bullshit. Okay. The system that Trump and Lutnick and Bessent are actually creating is meaningful. It's real. It's very, very freaking thoughtful on how it operates. And the idea is basically this, is that there's a sovereign wealth fund. There's a strategic Bitcoin reserve, a crypto reserve that's part of that sovereign wealth fund, and that the country makes money from all of its resources, from all the businesses and patents, and from all of the different tariffs that are coming in. It makes money. That money funds the government, and it funds the people, especially when people start being displaced by technology. I've laid this out over and over and over again. If you want to check that out, I'm not going to go any more deeper into this, but don't give me that Jassara. Nothing I said was Nasara Jassara. Nothing I said was hopium. Donald Trump is telling you right now that we can get rid of the income tax, but it's up to you. You got to go out there. We got to start demanding it.
And he's laid out the economic plan to accomplish it, and we're seeing it. Shout out to Dano J, gifted 5 subscriptions over there on Badlands Media. So thank you for that. And I don't think I missed any other subscription ones. So I think we nailed that point. I think the vast majority of the people see where we're going with it. I just found the Nasara Jassara thing.
Oh God, I can't stand Nasara Jassara.
Especially we've made fun of it. We've made people mad at us for making fun of it. I want to shift this over to a post that Trump did on Truth Social this morning. You've talked about it. I talked about it. I want to bring this. I want to read a post that I did to kind of get us going in this conversation. And then I'll turn it over to you, Josh.
Sure.
So let me forward real quick to the post he did. Shout out Spiritual Street Fighter 17. She, I believe it's a she, based off the logo, has been getting retruth by Trump like religiously. It's been a beautiful thing to see. But she put out this post. The truth post from Donald Trump. Donald J. Trump. It says, here, let me make it bigger so you guys can see it. Great news. Dallas County, Texas, just went to all paper ballots. Many others are following suit, more accurate, totally secure with watermark paper, faster, and only 9% of the cost. All Republican governors should mandatorily do this. Save money and freedom. Lead the Democrats out of their corrupt ways. President DJT, and you can see that was today at 5:44 a.m. Eastern time. And so let me get out of that image. And now I'm going to read my post, and then you guys give me your feedback. So here we go, Josh.
Zoom in on that. That's hard to see.
Oh. I'm doing to you what always.
There you go. Oh, perfect. There you go.
All right, here we go. This morning, the president got the attention of digital soldiers with a Q in the misspelling. Misspellings matter. In, quote, Q Dallas on Truth Social post at 5:44 a.m. Eastern. He would then delete this post 2 hours and 7 minutes later, 127 minutes. He would repost the same posts without the Q. So referencing the first timestamp, this is the 5:44 one. And it takes us to a group photo of 7 people. So let me scroll down right here to show you guys the photo in question. This comes from post 544, January 18th, 2018. And I want to give you guys some insights on this photo. A group photo of 7 people. The photo was taken in 2001 in Edinburgh, Scotland, at the biennial, if I said that right. Biannual, thank you. Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy Awards ceremony. The photographer of the image was Nike Zamachmanoglu.
You did a good job with that one.
Zamachmanoglu. Nike Z. The individuals pictured were amongst those present to receive the Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy for their contributions to society. Top row, from left to right. Robert Edward Turner III, also we know him as Ted Turner, William Henry Gates II, Bill Gates Sr., George Soros, Open Society Foundations, and David Rockefeller, Council on Foreign Relations. The bottom row, Irene Diamond, Hollywood talent scout, editor at Warner Brothers, and tied to the film Casablanca. That's an interesting dive into her if you go and look that a little bit deeper. Lenore Cohn Annenberg, Chief of Protocol of the United States from 81 to 82, married to Walter Annenberg, who was the ambassador to the UK. Roberta Brooke Astor, a lot of people know her as Brooke Astor, daughter of the 16th Commandant of the Marine Corps, married into the Astor family. Her son, Anthony Dryden, Tony Kuser, is a CIA officer and consultant to the NSA, or was. I don't think he might not be alive anymore. So referencing the 127 minutes, Q Post 127 is dated November 7th, 2017. The graphic is your key. Let's pause and say hello to the rogue intelligence agencies currently monitoring these threads. Was the money worth it? Titanic. Q. And shout out to, I think it was somebody on either Q After Hours or DEF CON last week that brought up a question about the Titanic. And at the time, there wasn't a whole lot of relevance where we could make it relevant, but that's kind of interesting. Referencing the Q misspelling. And I believe there was about, I think, 11 or 12 posts that came up, but this was the only one that I thought maybe there's a there. And this was post 335, dated December 12th of 2017. And that's where I queued off on that. This is the most upcoming thing given the date here. And it says timestamp Q, post 03 against POTUS tweet at 13:10, no coincidences Q. So I said possibly confirming the timestamp marker of the original truth post, the Soros group picture, or it could be signaling December 3rd, which I meant December 12th. Reminder, no coincidences. We are far. I was looking for it earlier, and there's where it was. We're far beyond the need for proofs. So what message is being sent? And so let me show these. There's that post.
I'm actually going to jump in here. I don't know if Tim's back yet because, Tim, if you mind, I'm going to jump in here. I actually had some of this saved here on X, that exact post. So I'll be able to zoom in a little bit better to show some of these people for one. So I wanted to do that for a second. That was a great job by them. Did you want me to keep going more with any of that stuff or anything specifically that they were going to hit on, Tim?
Oh, yeah. Well, as soon as Josh Reed gets in there talking about the Titanic, it'll blow your mind. Yeah, okay. Alpha's just setting the stage for him,
Gotcha.
kind of just the surface, and then Josh goes full Q-tard.
Okay, because it's and they had news trees in the Tim Waltz. That was funny. I got some other stuff in here. I have that exact post they were working on though, so that's so funny how we keep coming across the same things. Here it is. Oh, Alpha Ward. That was his post he did there. Okay, so he put the dig there together. Just want to show this photo a little bit better because it's from a Q drop. So here's the Q drop 544, and there they are. There's all, and then. So we'll actually list the names. I don't know if he does it on the show here, but what's his name? Not OpQ. Oh, he puts the names right in there too. So let me read these guys. So you have Ted Turner right here, who had a big land out in New Mexico. Melzie always talks
Turner
about
Network. So he's like, I think he's the founder of CNN.
Okay, and that's all your media. This here is Bill Gates' father right here. Bill Gates Sr. I believe his name is Edward. William Henry Gates II. Bill Gates Sr. That's actually Robert Edward. So, but it's still, it's not Ted Turner. Excuse me, Robert Edward Turner III. Oh, it is still saying Ted Turner. So they changed their names. They hide that shit. There's, of course, George Soros, looking kind of tiny in that mix there. There's a creepy Rothschild. Or not Rothschild, that's a Rockefeller, excuse me. David Rockefeller, Council on Foreign Relations, George Soros, Open Societies Foundations, and their alleged lady counterparts. We know how these people operate. I would be highly suspicious of that possibility. Bottom row, Irene Diamond, Hollywood Talent Scout, this is here in the red, editor at Warner Bros., tied to the film Casablanca. Next one over, Lenore Cohn and Annenberg, Chief of Protocol of the United States.
Doesn't that one in the red looks like Barbara Bush?
She does. She kind of does. A little bit different, but same. Probably because who knows? So there's them. Oh, that's the third person. Roberta Brooke Astor. So there's an Astor. So this is not anywhere. We're just talking about John Jacob Astor. Roberta Brooke, Astor, daughter of the 16th Commandant of the Marine Corps, married into the Astor family. Her son, Anthony Dryden, a.k.a. Tony Kuzer, is a CIA officer and consultant to the NSA. So I just want to show that graphic. I had this this very drop of Alpha Warrior up. So he covered that drop there, those ones. So they're doing the decode over here on Rumble, and I just want to check in with Tim. So I'll go back to them and let them keep ripping, and we'll be right back.
There's 127, and there's 335 for you guys all to see. And so with that, I'll turn it over to you, Josh. Let me know if you want me to bring anything up.
Well, so number one, the first thing that stands out, and I want people to see this correlation, and I can bring it up on my side. So this is kind of interesting, and I know you probably didn't catch this, Alpha, but that's okay. All right. So going here, number one is the timestamp, right? So Q post 544, that goes into the 7 people. One of them is Roberta Brooke Astor, right?
Right.
Now, you said that he went and deleted the queue and made another post that was 127 minutes, correct?
Correct.
Then this comes in and says the graphic is your key. Let's pause and say hello to the rogue intelligence agencies currently monitoring these threats. I find that really interesting because you have Ted Turner, you have Gates, you have Soros, Rockefeller. These are rogue intelligence operations that operate through basically billionaire circuits. This is the deep state intelligence apparatus, okay? Then it says this, was the money worth it? Titanic. Now, we've talked about this for the Titanic. 2 of the most famous people that died on the Titanic were the ones in opposition against the Federal Reserve. This was Guggenheim and John Jacob Astor. Now, what's interesting about that,
I did not make the connection with Astor on that.
But so John Jacob Astor died on the Titanic.
You said there was going to be wows. You said there was.
Now, here's the interesting thing is, was the money worth it? And the reason I look at that is because when John Jacob Astor's wife was one of the ones who saved, and in her belly was Jack, the jewel of the ocean. You know, the movie Titanic, Jack. She had Jack in her belly. But what did they do? They killed Jack at the end. Jack didn't die, but Jack actually was kicked out of the family. So when his wife came back, they looked at it as basically a fake marriage, and that they never accepted Jack Jr. as a member of the Astor family. They just gave him a trust fund and threw them in New York City to live, and they were never part of the actual Astor family. In other words, his family sold him out. Was the money worth it?
Titanic. Damn, bro.
Nice.
I think that's interesting. That's pretty crazy.
That is pretty wild. You said it was good. You said it was good. Josh had no idea I was going to bring that one up. I mean, I'm pretty sure we had, without talking about it, he knew we'd be talking about that.
What do you think, Tim? Come back on now. That was good. That's just like what happens to us, right, Tim? How those synchronicities happen and how beautiful they all line up together. Special things.
Yeah, that's good enough. I mean, everybody, if you want to go find that and watch the whole show, just go to Badlands Media on Rumble and look for DEFCON 0. I think they come on once a week. They do a show once a week, those guys.
So Badlands Media. Here's Badlands Media guys over on Rumble, 227,000 followers, and then they have basically a bunch of sub shows kind of under their thing. Something we want to do in the future here. So you got Devolution.
Also, while you're there, scroll down and look for the one about voting.
Okay.
I forget the title. We got to show everybody that one. That's an important one going forward to the elections. Keep going.
Mike's getting a little scratchy when you get a chance. Maybe clear some tabs out. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll be bouncing off pretty soon anyway, brother. Go to the next page.
Okay.
Why We Vote, I think it's called. Look for the show Why We Vote. Why We Vote. There it is on the right-hand side.
There we go. Okay.
Right there. Yeah, Brian and Ashley, they do an amazing job, you guys, when it comes to learning about the elections throughout the country. All the ins and outs, all the details, the lawsuits, all the fraudulent stuff. Including what we should all be doing as patriots to get involved. So they really break it down. That show there is well worth watching to get, to become part of the process, to learn more about your elections and how you as a patriot can make a difference. If you get involved, you could be a door knocker, a phone caller, you could be a texter, you could be a poll watcher, you could, like we even say, you could be, if you're a grandma, you could make cookies for all the volunteers at the voting centers. I mean, that's how we participate, right? The more the merrier. The more of us. There is more of us than them. They are well organized. We are not. We need to become more organized, all of us, and that's how. Especially, we got to gear up for those midterm elections because that's the key. That's, to me, that's going to be the ultimate turnaround right there. Everything else is being staged and set up and put into place for us, including some of the things that we've talked about the last several days. But when you take full power of the House and the Senate, and I mean like supermajority wise, then the magic starts. That's all. Like, don't forget, this is where all the new rules, laws, regulations, and executive orders turn into the law. And any changes to the amendments of the Constitution can be done as long as you got. We need a supermajority in the Senate in order to do that, Senate and House. So I think that's the direction we're heading. So please get involved in your local area. Get involved in your election process. Find out. Just call them. What can I do? I'm here. I'm going to volunteer a couple hours a week, whatever it is, whatever time you have to volunteer and get involved. And you'll make some new friends, some new patriotic friends out there. You never know who you're going to run into.
You never know. You never know. Sometimes you got to just extend the olive branch or say hi or ask that question or say, get to know your neighbors or ask the people what's going on out there.
Yeah. You might even learn a thing or two about your elections.
You can always learn something. That's for sure. Let's go.
Yeah, so that I encourage everybody. We'll keep doing that for the next 11 months going into the midterms for next year. We're definitely going to stay on top of that. But that's about all I've got for today, you guys. So I'm gonna get ready for Matthew's dinner here again. But thanks, Melzie, and thanks, Kyle, for all your hard work and everything you do and showing all the Christmas stuff. I'm gonna go do some ordering tonight. I got to order my Christmas gear. And maybe next time you'll see the ornaments hanging on Matthew's Christmas tree here. But yeah, thanks for all you guys do, and thanks for everybody who joined us today. Love you guys, and stay in the game, stay on mission, stay focused, and never forget, where we go one, we go all. No one is above the other. We're all in it together, right? So God bless you guys.
Amen, brother. Love, love, love. Take care. I just found he must have posted this as Tim. So tis the season for treason. Look at Kofifi mug. There's one we can get a shirt. Trump card.
Nice.
Got the different They don't have their Qschqql ornament on there yet, but they got the other ones, the Punisher, the Pepe, 5GW. There's Dad's book, the 5th Generation Warfare, Christmas Santa, Special Tis Season for Treason. So there it is, trump card. Where we go one, we go all. Cool. All right, Timbo, thank you, brother. I think we're going to probably wrap it up pretty soon here. Maybe let me see the gold drops. I just want to see if because there was a couple deltas, and maybe show that. Where is that? We'll just do, that's what I can do. Let's go. I'm going to go to the gold drops on Q alerts just because there's a couple extra. I'm going to just kind of scan it. Tomorrow, I think we'll try to catch up on more of the new stuff. Again, we don't always know what we're going to cover each time. It was just the two of us, either put us on the side or there we go. Where was it going? The Q drops. Tomorrow, we don't know what we're going to talk about. We're talking about gold, Federal Reserve stuff today. There was also, I think, there's some deltas from today. These are the deltas. There it is. Gold's right there. Oh, wait, no, this is gold. Never mind. What am I talking about? But tomorrow we'll do some of the new stuff too, right? Some of the things, the proclamation Trump has done. He officially nullified all of Biden's, what do you call them, pardons. He said that for a while, but now he says official. I don't know how that works. The president is telling us this. Does that mean it's a done deal or all those things? We've had that $6.25 billion donation from a CEO, Michael Dell, and his interesting looking wife. If you guys get a chance, we're gonna do that tomorrow though. Check out the wife in the video if you ever see. There's a movie out there. It reminds me so much of it. Oh, it's probably Saw, the little guy on the little tricycles. What she reminds me of. It's that bad. It's that she quote unquote she is anyway. So all right, let me scroll here to see if we catch any. What's the date here? What's today's date? Are we in December again?
What about gold shall end the Fed? Is there one that's like that?
Yeah, let's do. So here's one of the 20s on Q alerts. So Panic in DC. So we're gonna scroll around here, see which ones catch our attention. That would be more in the beginning. I'm going backwards. Let's see here. See, how are these ones gold? There's no gold even in these. Some Anon add the Punisher face to Pepe. That's a weird coincidence. Is in the gold here when there's no gold in this one. While it is certainly not meant to be funny, it sends a very important intended message. Cast of characters are known. I don't even know what this is about. It's all coming out. Nunez received a special package from Barr. Don't know why those are included in the gold ones.
Are you sure you switched to gold?
This is Q alerts right here. Sold out, lady. Look at it. It's right in front of your face.
Are you sure?
Are you sure? Sure.
Oh, there's gold. I see it now.
Twice. Oh, that's the date. That's crazy. We didn't see that. We covered all those Q drops. Q drop 2598. Let's show this real quick. I got to go to Q Ag. I can navigate better over there. Q drop. Now I'll make one more new tab, so I don't want that to go away just yet. Hang on, guys. We're going to show you a few Q drops. Going to wrap it up. But Q drop 2598, which we have on a stocking on hammertime.printify.me. Look at this, Melzie. 2598 is the Hammer Time Q drop. Right there's Santa with the JR embroidery. He's got the hammer. Oh, so the image does have the circles in it. Mm-hmm. QA in there. And then Hammer Time is the name of the image. That's not why Mel made her channel name Hammer Time. It was from the Paul Pelosi Hammer Time incident and all those situations. But full circle, here it is in our very first Qschqql. We covered this drop. And then Flotus. I can't remember everyone's names right now. Melania Trump, she posted about Christmas decorations in August when we brought this Q drop up. And the deadline was my birthday. Mm-hmm. And then Anon says Anon says Santa with a hammer signed by QA. This Christmas we want justice. Confirmed. QA arrow to QAnon. Hammer. More to find over time. Happy hunting Q. But that's December 12th, 2018. We shelled all the other Q drops that day. But this one is actually December 12th also. So let's do where's our gold Q drops? Did I kill that one? No, it's right here. So we're gonna go their way. Here's the gold Q drops. Let's see if we can find the original December. Ooh, Goldman Sachs. Silence is golden. Here we go. Look at it. It's the same day, Mel. 2598. So there's a bunch of Q drops that day. So this is 2619. So that's at least 221 drops later. Still December 12th, 2018, 1901:15. Anon says Q. This is during a Q&A time. Oh, that's why there was so many. It was during the QAs. Look at 1857. Anon says Q. Do we have the gold? Q says yes. Gold shall destroy Fed. Okay. Now this is a benefit of. Okay, this one. See, that's different. that the same drop? 33.93. I gotta check something real quick, guys. Stand by. 33.93.
Gold standard coming back. Is that the one you're looking at?
No. Okay, just 33.93. But I just want to show an example of the differences of the searches on Qschqql.
That's interesting. That's 3393 because that's like derivative of 6. That's a number that Tesla would use. You know, like he always had everything had to be derived by 6.
6 or 3.
369.
Yeah.
So
it'd be obviously 3 goes into 3393, right? If it adds up to any divisible by 3. So July 9th, 2019. July 9th is standing out to me. Is this the day of that Q drop talking about the 6 years from now? I feel like it is. But this is now an image shared from that previous Q drop. It's reshared again July 9th, 2019 on Q drop 3393. Okay, then the Anon, this is Q sharing their own image. Q shares their own image. I just want to highlight this because this is an image, and it's gold is actually in red here. But if this image was the only thing on this Q drop, it would not pop up on QAG because it's just an image. It would have to be a word, but it actually does come up because there's this link with the word gold in it. But if gold wasn't in this, we wouldn't see this Q drop. So that's why Q alerts is good sometimes, because if you go to Q alerts, they'll have this image, and then there's information about the image sometimes too. It wasn't in this one, but sometimes you'll see some different numbers because of that. So I just want to let people know that little part about it. Let's see if this what this is about. CBS News, Trump's Fed pick Judy Shelton, gold standard explained. Let's see what this article is all about. Trump Fed pick, this is from his first term, July 10th, 2019. Trump's Fed pick wants, what do they want from me? Come on. How's your little shit? Okay, Trump's Fed pick wants to revive the gold standard. Here's what that means. How perfect is this with everything we're talking about? As President Donald Trump named his picks to fill 2 influential seats on the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors, the price of gold surged. This is from 2019, guys. Think about Future Proof's past Q posts. That may be because one of them, Judy Shelton, is a believer in the return to the gold standard, a money policy abandoned by the U.S. when 1971, there's the year 17. Shelton is raising eyebrows among mainstream economists for her views, which includes slashing the Fed's benchmark rate to 0 and pegging the value of the dollar to gold prices. She is not the first Trump pick for the Fed to advocate a return to the gold standard. With his 2 previous failed choices, Stephen Moore and Herman Cain, also advocating for a revival of the policy, Fed Chair Jerome Powell slams idea of returning U.S. gold standard. Would Powell exit Fed chair even if Trump fired him? No, he tells Congress. I think these are just extra articles. In picking Shelton, Mr. Trump is aiming to place a supporter on the Federal Reserve, which he's argued is slowing economic growth and depressing the stock market by keeping interest rates too high. Same shit he's been saying this year. The Fed currently is maintaining its benchmark rate in a range of 2.25% to 2.5%, but Shelton has said she wants to lower rates as fast, as efficiently, as expeditiously as possible. And that's probably why she didn't get approved to be the Federal Reserve Chair, because she was saying things like that. I don't know how that works. Is it because Jerome Powell, he's been there for a long ass time, hasn't he? Has he been the guy since Trump's first admin? Can y'all help me on that on the digs in the chat, anybody? And here's a tweet from Trump in July 2019. I'm pleased to announce that it is my intention to nominate Judy Shelton, PhD, U.S. Executive Director, European Bank of Reconstruction and Development, to be on the board of the Federal Reserve, Reconstruction and Development, Federal Reserve, and she wants to go back to the gold standard.
Nice.
Who's paying attention? Let's go a little bit farther. I don't think this article is too long. To be sure, Mr. Second pick, economist Christopher Waller holds more mainstream economic views. The research director at the Federal Bank, St. Louis, Waller has expressed support for the independence of the Federal Reserve in allowing inflation to run a bit higher in order to help the economy recover from slowdowns. Like Mr. Trump, Shelton has a history of attacking the Fed's policies and supporting the gold standard, a monetary policy rejected by most mainstream economists as antiquated. Again, probably because they're handlers, right? Just like we can pay off freaking politicians to lie to us, just as easy to pay off freaking scientists to lie to us. You can pay off a bitch ass economist too to say, no, we shouldn't go back to the gold standard. The Federal Reserve should be able to do whatever they want there, make our money worthless, and we'll just be their slaves forever. Fuck these people. The planned nominations were announced by Mr. Trump in a tweet late Tuesday. Each must be confirmed by the Senate. Senate was always the target. That's the important shit. There's some more information here. What exactly is the gold standard? I think this is relevant. I know we're going a little long in the recording, but I think this is relevant. We're going to wrap it up, and then we'll close it out after this. Melzy, if you want to maybe find us a closing video while I'm reading this, that'd be awesome. Sweet. Okay, what exactly is the gold standard? We can even do that one we did yesterday. Everybody liked that one, but if you got something else for us, or maybe something with gold, something exciting and fun though, if you can. Okay, what exactly is the gold standard? It's a policy that links the value of the country's currency to gold. The U.S. adopted it in 1879, and it allowed consumers, banks, and businesses to exchange a dollar for actual gold. Even that's what the printed money is supposed to be. It's like your certificate saying, "I own this much gold." Right? That's why it's bullshit. Our system's so fake. Your money, it says notice of debt. It's actually the money's just keeping track of all the fucking debt we have. That's how stupid that paper money is. Okay, that may sound like a solid deal given that actual gold would back up your bucks. But there's a downside. The country can only issue as much money as it has backed, which makes your money have value. The upshot is that countries on the gold standard have less flexibility to respond to financial crises or economic downturns. AKA, some of these are manufactured crises that these assholes do to inject their policies they want. Okay, currently the US dollar isn't tied to any specific asset. So what does that mean? When did the U.S. abandon the gold standard? Again, that was 71. Let's see, long goodbye, gold standard. The long goodbye to the gold standard began with the Great Depression. Remember what I was saying? These guys artificially created the Great Depression and the stock market collapse for this. So it's interesting that this mainstream article is saying the long goodbye to the gold standard began with the Great Depression, when panicked consumers sought to trade dollars for gold to keep the country's gold reserves from becoming depleted. The U.S. had to offer high interest rates as an alternative, which in turn made it more expensive to lend money and hampered the country's ability to rebound from the Depression. Allegedly, that's how it went. In response, President Franklin Roosevelt suspended the gold standard in 1933. Mr. Franklin Roosevelt, he'd been elected 4 times, this motherfucker. A move which is widely credited with helping the country climb out of the Depression. I bet it fucking was. That's because the decision allowed the government to lower interest rates and pump money into the economy. That's the way to stimulate it. Just pump fake money into it. That should be perfect. But the U.S. still allowed foreign governments to trade dollars for gold until President Nixon abolished the policy in 1971. So interesting. Sounds like they were doing that already as a way to keep the gold reserves from depletion. Bullshit. Why do Shelton and others want to return to the gold standard? Shelton argues it would mark a return to stability, hamper other governments from currency manipulation, like China and others. Okay, in a Wall Street Journal opinion piece, she wrote, the classical gold standard established an international benchmark for currency values consistent with free trade principles, meaning a fair market. She added, today's arrangements permit governments to manipulate their currencies to gain an export advantage. Remember, this Q drops from 2020, put an end to the endless, and this is what this shit's all about. And this was one of Trump's main nominees to be the Federal Reserve Chair. So this is what's going on, guys. And Trump's back in charge. Okay. Others argued the gold standard would keep U.S. spending under control because the country would be limited in its ability to issue new money. But the biggest thing is you issue new money, your money starts losing value. Our wages haven't gone up. So again, housing costs more, groceries, all the bullshit. Why do mainstream economists believe it's a fringe view? Don't really fucking care what mainstream economists think, but it's the last little paragraph, so we'll at least wrap it up with what their thoughts are. Again, mainstream, the U.S. economy has grown in complexity since 71, certainly since 33, making the policy less feasible than in earlier eras, and a return to the gold standard could in effect tie the Fed's hands because the central bank would be focused on gold prices, which are partially based on how much of the commodity is being mined. Again, basically out of their control, things they don't want. It's very easy to pay some asshole because they own the media, Mockingbird Media, put in whatever stories they want to prop up. Quote, a gold standard regimen would be a disaster for any large advanced economy, end quote, said University of Chicago. Nothing shady going on in Chicago. Economist anal Cash App. Oh, he's got the same last name. And our boy, is he our boy or is he rogue? Who knows what the fuck's up with that? Here's a name for it right there. Put that in Gematria. Anal Cash App. That's not where you donate to Qschqql at, okay? Supporting the gold standard implies macroeconomic illiteracy. Shut up! Ain't no Cash App. You don't know shit. Price of gold, by the way, is up more than 11% this year, passing 1,400 an ounce this week. This is from 2019. Where are we at right now? What is it at?
4,200.
4,200. That's times 3.
So think about your dollar. Like they were making the same dollar.
And
like
your dollar ain't making no value
that you made today, and your wages didn't go up. But if you had put your money into gold, you would have increased your value
substantially.
It would have you would have held your wealth.
Great point. By having it by cash money, you have nothing really. So.
And that's what they kept from us, is kind of understanding how to use wealth, how wealth worked. You know, they just open a bank account and get a loan for school and get a loan for car. And, you know, even if you had money saved up, like when you got sick, then they would take all your money. So the whole system, like when you can write the policies in Washington, right, you can create whatever you want. And it was designed to have a crash and then inflation, so that then they would bring us into basically financial enslavement, kind of where we're at right now. And that's what we're being set free from. I mean, it's significant,
so it's all about,
right?
Yeah.
And I think I saw that Cindy asked a question. Let's just answer this real quick, because she said, is Nasara real? And, you know, that's a big question. Like, is it real or not? But, you know, I think that whatever Trump is doing, his executive orders, and kind of like JFK was trying to also bring us back to a gold standard. And I think was the beginning of whatever they call Nasara, right? So Nasara is not just about like the financial part. There's actually, it restores us back to the constitutional republic. The IRS is absolved into the U.S. Treasury, and we see that happening.
Right.
So I would say that it is real, but it's not going to be called, in my opinion, Nasara. It'll be done in a way that, because the last time that they tried to implement Nasara was on 9/11. And instead of us having that, you know, we had mass deception and brought the towers down and
weapons of mass deception
and illusion. So now we're freeing from all that, because we have gotten to the point too that we're able to awaken to knowing what some of their game plan is. Maybe we don't always see it exactly, but we're getting better at that, and so they can't fool us anymore.
Amen. That's why I put the spotlight on them, right? That's what Q helped us connect those dots, and we organize and stuff. Man, Mel hit on a bunch of things there. What was a couple of, I was going to follow up there. Oh, we get the programming we've had too, like design, like I said, we were, you know, and this is where your education is, right? Too, like this is programming, go to college, get a good job, right? And then save money, work hard to make money, save money. And if you're just saving money, and that's just losing, you don't actually have knowledge of how to make real wealth, right? And then we spend all this money to go into debt to then go to college, which is just working for somebody else. And then it's X amount of dollars with you're sacrificing your time, where wealthy people, so Mel was talking about the government and the policies like screwing us, but also then like wealthy people teach their children about wealth, and then they stay wealthy. And then, you know, they kept our education systems taught you nothing about money or any of the financial systems by design, right? And it's made you memorize all this crap. So all this knowledge is coming back to the people too, so we can inspire ourselves to be better and empower ourselves too, right? To not rely on these people anymore, like we've been talking about the last couple of days with everything.
Yeah. It's a big subject, and I don't get overwhelmed by it. Like, oh, now where am I going to shop? And what am I going to do? Start just making steps towards it, you know, like towards making a change.
Small changes. And when you ask that question and you start looking, the answers show up too. Yes. You know, Mel and I, and we're not quite really ready to kind of bring this to all of our friends yet, but there's companies out there too where you can just switch basically the products you're using, like we've been talking about, get rid of the big box chain, American made products and stuff, and you spend the same money, but it's keeping it in your pocket. And you can, you know, again, putting money in our pockets too. It's wealth sharing things and stuff too. So there's a lot of opportunity out there if you just ask too. And start doing the things, start making the small changes like we've been saying.
Yeah.
For sure.
We are the change.
We are the change. So I'm gonna go back to the very last of my brain. It's like I
dropped a
okay.
video.
Let me do this last paragraph basically of this article. Is like what's the movie with the account? He's like, I gotta finish. My brain's thinking about this article. Right. Bearish investors have been rushing to buy gold the past few months amid concerns that global growth is slowing, especially if U.S.-China trade tensions worsen. Gold jumped further Wednesday as investors saw Mr. Trump's Fed picks as yet another sign the U.S. Central Bank won't be raising interest rates anytime soon. Anyways, that was an article from 2019 from the Qschqql, so it was relevant in there. And how relevant is that to how it is today now too, right? Is the gold price has risen? Are we going back to the gold standard? It seems like we're going to be that. Back to Cindy's question to Nisara Gisara. In my heart of heart, I believe it's real. There's things to it. Nobody, and then Mel explained it perfectly. It's like we're already having these things happen, right? And I've kind of talked about this a long time back from 2022 and before on Qschqql days. I said maybe the misdirection is the EBS, and we're just laying this foundation one step at a time, one brick at a time. Before you know it, this brand new world's here. That's why I encourage everyone to start taking action. Stop sitting around. If you're sitting around waiting, you're stagnating. If you're stagnating, you're dying, right? So get out there, live, go do your thing. Even if it means like, I got to move my foot to make a few bucks to get this bill paid, but then start doing, following your passions. More things start happening. Meet up with your friends, organize things, right? Put a thing on Craigslist. I dare somebody to do that. Since somebody tried to get a Trump phone, congrats, Amy. I don't know if you're still watching over on Instagram. I challenge somebody to put a Craigslist out up in your local area for a Qtard meetup, or anybody interested in Q, or however you want to put it. Put something cool. Put a Pepe thing, or put it maybe in a mysterious billboard with a Pepe, meet up at this time or something, or have a text message. Be safe out there, of course. But your Qtard friends are out there in your areas. Find up local meetups. Going to charge you up. You're going to inspire you new ideas and whatnot. And
I used to go to the dog park, and I met a few people there that were Qtarded. So it was really awesome. It was a great way to sit down and just start talking about things and, see where people were at. And so it doesn't have to be something stressful either, I think.
Yeah, and then that again starts with asking those questions. Again, one of my favorite topics, the Sasquatch. I found 4 different people over time that have a first-person experience that's totally off topic, but the same thing though, right? You ask people questions and you have conversations, and that's also, you can see a great litmus test of how awake people are. All the work we've done is paying off, right? You can talk to more people about more things than you ever could 5 years ago, even just a couple years ago, but especially in these topics. And I'll keep pushing the envelope. If I meet a new person, they're on board, because I'm not going to have some regular ass conversation with somebody. They're not even in my frequency. So more and more people are waking up. It's a special movement, a special time to be alive, but you got to take action, take responsibility, and love yourself, and do those things, and everything will fall into place. And we'll keep guiding you along the way. The Qjobs are here. We have a beautiful, amazing team of patriots standing behind us on the military side, in the White House, but all you beautiful patriots out there listening worldwide, doing the thing. That's really what it's all about. We all come together. There's nothing they can do to stop us. And that's not cliche, guys. It's real. When you believe it and start taking action and walk, talk, and act as if we have already won. Yeah. Watch the magic happen right before your eyes. And it already is. We're having lots of fun. Hopefully you guys are having fun with us, and we'll keep showing up and bringing you the sauce and the news, and hopefully y'all keep showing us the love, and we'll keep doing our thing. So thanks, guys, for being with us through everything.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, for sure. You got a closer for us, Mel?
I do. I put it in Diggers.
All right. In Diggers we go. So thank you, friends. And love, love, love.
Yeah, love, love, love.
Cool. All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.
There's another force applied in combat that we generally don't think of as a weapon of war. That weapon is words. Words are weapons.
Telling the truth is the only way in which to influence people.
This is psychological warfare.
Got a penchant for greed and money to spare. They put the dollars in the coffers and the lives in the air. Well, we go one, we go all. I won't push you down, you won't let me fall. One day for sure we will stand tall. Where we go one, we go all. the plan because we have it all and the fate is in our hands. Had a reason to fool us, but we didn't take the bait. They want to take us to hell, but we got guns at the gate. Where we go one, we go all. I won't push you down, you won't let me fall. One day for sure we will stand tall. Where we go one, we go all. They call it a conspiracy. It's the one last lie. We know who they are, and we got them in our sights. Our knowledge is power. They're running for the hills. If the law don't get them, then we the people will. Where we go one, we go all. I won't push you down. You won't let me fall. One day for sure we will stand tall. Where we go one, we go all. We go all. I won't push you down. You won't let me fall. One day for sure we will stand tall. Where we go one, we go all.
Oh yeah, thank you everybody. Love, love, love. Special gold episode. We'll be free rolling it tomorrow. Dealer's choice episode topics, and we'll be covering all the local news stuff or latest news